The anime starts in a forest, and then we approach a cave and see that inside there is a boy. His name is Seiichi, the protagonist of this story. He says he is in his second year of high school, and that he is now in a mysterious world that is not Earth, living a reality he has never experienced before. After that, a very strong light blinds him and he wonders what is happening. Soon after, he realizes that in front of him there is a completely naked girl. The girl wakes up and runs to hug him very emotionally, saying she loves him and wants to become his wife. Rage is surprised by this request, as he cannot believe that such a beautiful girl is asking him to marry him. After that, he remembers everything that happened before reaching that point. Going way back, we see a high school. Iraj is lying on the ground. After being beaten up, we see that his appearance is totally different, being a fat guy that everyone makes fun of. They also say he is very ugly and smelly. Then, two bullies say goodbye to him and ask him to come back the next day so they can bully him even more. Suddenly, a message comes over the school intercom asking students to return to their seats. Most want to leave right away, but they're forced to do so, except for Iraj, who remains lying on the ground. After that, a mysterious voice introduces itself as the god of this world, telling everyone that they will be taken from Earth and sent to another world. Everyone is in disbelief, and the voice also says that they will all be summoned as heroes. Additionally, he grants them the ability to see their stats, as well as appraisal and inventory skills. After that, he explains that in 10 minutes, they will be teleported to the other world. Therefore, he asks them to form groups that might appear in a safe location. The students are a bit confused, but they all group together. Iraj also tries to join a group, but is immediately rejected when they see his stats. He has level 1 in all of them, making everyone mock him again, saying they will never accept a guy who is barely human because he is so weak. After that, the god of this world says he will start transporting them, taking the students who had already formed groups, leaving Iraj completely alone. The god notices this, and before teleporting Iraj, says he will give him a special ability, but does not mention what that ability is, just teleports him. He arrives in this other world, and it seems he is in the middle of a jungle. After 5 days of walking, Iraj could not find anything to eat. He ends up falling to the ground from hunger. He complains so much that a lava appears in front of him for him to eat, but just as he's about to grab it, he gets trampled by two monkeys that pass by very fast. He soon notices that in front of him there is a strange fruit. This fruit must have fallen from the trees that the monkey shook. He picks it up and, using his appraisal skill, realizes that it is an evolution fruit. Although it seems a bit suspicious, he decides to eat it because of the hunger he is feeling. At this point, it could be poison and he wouldn't even care. When he takes the first bite, he realizes it tastes terrible. Even so, he ends up eating it all. With that, his hunger is gone. And after that, a mysterious voice informs him that he has just acquired the effects of the evolution fruit. But nothing happens at the moment, so he decides to move forward to find even more food and comes across the monkeys that had trampled him before. As a precaution, he appraises their stats, which are level 120, much higher than his, as he remains level 1. The monkeys get distracted and leave their fruits. Iraj is a smart guy and takes the opportunity to get closer. With the help of his inventory skill, he steals the evolution fruits that the monkeys had and also takes some potions they had created. Meanwhile, elsewhere, in a much more privileged place, we see Iraj's friends, who for some reason are in a different place from him. They gather but cannot find Iraj. That is because he is still in the jungle after a week, where he finds a mysterious mushroom that he wants to eat. Checking if it was safe, he only sees some question marks, wondering whether to eat it or not. But in the end, unfortunately, he eats it. This causes very intense stomach pain. He comments that in the last few days, he has eaten very strange things, acquiring skills like endurance and paralysis. He feels so bad from eating the mushroom that he thinks he is going to die. So, he eats another evolution fruit. He has eaten 7 evolution fruits so far, and only 2 remain. Well, with nothing left to lose, he decides to eat the other one that remains. He has no idea what this fruit does, but still thanks the fruit for saving him on occasions when he was very hungry. Suddenly, after he eats the fruit, he starts feeling much better, as if it healed him. After that, his appraisal skill goes up to advanced appraisal, also acquiring poison resistance. At that moment, the monkey appears right in front of him, attacking him and leaving him badly injured. So Iraj has an idea and takes one of the potions he stole to recover, gets so angry that he calls the monkey to fight, but the monkey beats him down, and when Iraj is on the ground, the monkey approaches to bite him. But due to the boy's bad smell, the monkey ends up dying. After that, the monkey's corpse disappears, leaving several items. Upon touching these items, Iraj acquires 2 skills, guillotine kick and some movement skills, as well as advanced alchemy and advanced weapon creation. He also picks up a book that the monkey dropped. His book explains about its species, mentioning that monkeys are highly intelligent beings, live in high-level dungeons, are knowledgeable about herbs, and have the ability to create tools and medicines. Iraj didn't even realize he was reading a book in another language, which surprises him, remembering that God had given him an extra ability, which allows him to acquire and learn new skills by coming into contact with things or defeating enemies. He also enters an evolution stage, changing his physical appearance to a taller, thinner boy, adding 1,000 points to all his stats. Iraj checks and realizes that 9 evolutions are still missing. In part, he is sad because he will have to endure that first evolution pain 9 more times, and he wonders why he is still at level 1 if he just defeated the level 120 monkey. Since then, 5 months have passed. During this time, Seiichi has been accumulating a lot of experience thanks to the skills he acquired, slowly increasing his stats. Soon we see a giant wolf of level 300 that suddenly attacks him out of nowhere. Seiichi manages to defeat it quickly, using his instant movement and guillotine kick. He realizes he is too strong to be just level 1. After that, he collects the items the wolf dropped, acquiring its skin and meat, as well as 3 more combat skills, now having the ability to use water magic. He also gets a legendary water dagger that was inside a chest. After that, he stores the book the wolf dropped to read later, and then goes through the painful evolution again. Now he uses his appraisal to realize that only one evolution is left. Suddenly he finds himself in danger again, but this time he is surrounded by a group of monkeys, and among them appears the blue ball gorilla, which is actually a pink ball that challenges Seiichi to fight. Even though he refuses, the gorilla insists on fighting. With no other option, Seiichi uses his appraisal to realize that the gorilla is over level 700. This gorilla is their leader and is at the top of the intelligent monkeys. Seiichi thinks he came for revenge, so he quickly moves away, but the gorilla promises that no one will interfere in the battle. She delivers a blow, but Seiichi dodges. The gorilla herself is impressed because it's the first time she has seen anyone survive her first strike. As unlikely as it seems, she's a female gorilla who is falling in love with him. Seiichi tries to say he doesn't like animals, but ends up getting punched in the face. The gorilla is even more impressed that he survived the second blow, falling even more in love with him. He again says he doesn't like gorillas, but she says she's not a simple animal and introduces herself as Saria, clearly confirming she is female. Seiichi sees no sense in what is happening, so he decides to attack, but Saria dodges by jumping very high and landing head first on him. Seiichi manages to dodge a third time, and Saria falls more and more in love. Therefore, he wants to end the situation once and for all. So he draws his legendary dagger and creates a water spell, but he ends up missing the spell and throwing it at himself. Because he doesn't have much experience with magic, Saria mocks him and decides to use her strongest attack, a blast of fast juice that leaves Seiichi severely injured. He remembers his friends who are waiting for him and decides to use his bad smell to finish off Saria, something that saves his life, but ends up making Saria fall even more in love to the point where she asks him to marry her and takes him along with her, arriving at her home, which is located in a large tree. There, Saria takes care of Seiichi like a wife, giving him everything he needs to eat. He asks why he can't leave. Saria says she wants him to be her husband. Seiichi makes her understand that they are different races. He is human and she is a damn gorilla. She says she is not damn at all. Her name is Saria, offering him food and clothes, which he finds very tasty. She asks if she would be a good wife, and he replies that she would be if she married a gorilla, but she ignores the gorilla part and only focuses on his compliment. After a while, Seiichi is thinking of some way to escape and explore the black zones of the map. Saria interrupts him, asking if he is thinking about her, but he doesn't pay attention to that question. Interested in knowing how she learned to speak, she replies that she found some books in a nearby cave and shows the books to Seiichi. He looks at one of the books called Everyday Life Magic. From it, he learns the wash skill. It is basically a spell to clean yourself without needing to take a bath. He doesn't think it's a good idea because then he won't have women's bathrooms to spy on anymore. After a while, the two go to the riverbank to fish. He sees the opportunity to escape while Saria is distracted fishing, so he turns around to leave, but comes face to face with a giant spider that Saria sends to the moon. After being saved, Seiichi notices that Saria really cares about him. After that, they return home, where Saria teases Seiichi while he eats, saying they look like newlyweds. He asks her to stop saying that kind of thing. Then she mentions that today she will go on a search with the monkeys to find more evolution fruits, which surprises Seiichi and makes him remember the evolution fruit he had stolen. Saria asks him if by chance he knows the evolution fruit, something he obviously says no to. Then Saria begins to explain more about the fruit. It can transform you into a better species. To do so, you must eat the fruit 10 times and be very careful not to exceed that limit, otherwise you can die instantly. Seiichi remembers that he ate 10 and gets very worried. Saria continues telling more about the fruit and mentions that she had collected several, but some idiot stole them all from her. Seiichi gets very nervous. He can't take it anymore and apologizes, confessing that it was he who stole them, explaining that he was very hungry and ended up eating them all. Saria forgives him because those fruits were destined for her future husband. Since they are already engaged and the wedding will happen very soon, she lets it go. After that, Saria leaves to hunt, and Seiichi takes this moment to escape the forest. Next, we see a scene change. Now we are with Seiichi's classmates. They are receiving basic training to defeat the demon king of that world. Meanwhile, we see Seiichi running happily for having managed to escape, but this happiness didn't last long. He hears Saria shouting for him to stop as she follows him at high speed. She says he shouldn't go that way, but Iraj ignores her, using one of his skills called instant movement, just to escape from her. After that, we see Iraj resting in front of a cave that looks very intimidating. But upon hearing Saria calling him from afar, he decides to enter the cave. As he walks inside, he finds a giant door and decides to enter. After entering, he comes across a skeleton sitting on a throne. He stands up and tells Iraj that he is the first human to enter his chambers. Iraj, seeing this weirdo, uses his appraisal skill and discovers that his name is Shianos, the Dark Lord. He also realizes that he is level 1, so he shouldn't be that strong. Shianos says he fooled Iraj and asks him to look again. Yes folks, our protagonist was fooled, and Seianos' true level is 1500. Seianos wonders how strong the first human to reach him would be, so he prepares to fight, drawing his sword. He disappears and appears behind Iraj to kill him quickly. About to be hit, Iraj is saved by Saria, who takes the fatal blow and falls to the ground. Iraj asks Saria why she protected him. She replies that it's the first time Iraj has called her by name and treated her normally. He is very emotional about her attitude. Iraj leaves Saria's body on the ground and starts fighting. In the middle of the fight, he reveals his feelings for Saria, saying that she was very kind to him, and now he loves her. Using his skills, he manages to face Seianos until at a certain point, he acquires a skill called Oceanic Impact. This skill serves more as a distraction so that afterward he can get close to him and stab him with his sword using instant movement. In his last words, Seianos thanks for being freed from his curse and for Iraj having taught him the power of love. Suddenly, Seianos' wife appears beside him and he says he's coming back for her. After that, he goes back to Saria, saying he wanted her to be his wife. The two kiss, and at that moment, Saria's body begins to glow, transforming her into a human girl. He is in disbelief for a moment, but still asks if she is really Saria. She replies yes, leaving him very surprised. Now he will finally be happy. Next, an explanation is shown about the Dark Lord, who was a noble who lived 1500 years ago and was the monstrous form of Marquis Shianos Zord. He was a great feudal lord and everyone loved him. However, he was betrayed by the emperor, who led his beloved wife and the entire country to betray him. The emperor went after them and Mari gave her life to protect Seianos. After that, he decided to live deep in the forest, placing a curse of deep sorrow upon himself. Iraj and Saria are very emotional about this, and he understands that it was better to take Seianos to be with his beloved. Then he sees a chest left by Seianos' corpse and approaches to see what's inside. He ends up finding some clothes for Saria and a necklace. He can't even hide that she looks very beautiful in those clothes. After that, he receives new skills: disguise, assimilation, and clairvoyance. He also learns to use dark magic and receives sword skills, obtaining secret techniques like flash and mist. Saria asks what all those flashes were. Iraj replies that it was just a gift from heaven. He managed to accumulate enough hidden experience to evolve, and suddenly a yellow light falls upon him as he screams in pain. Upon finishing, and since it was his final evolution, he becomes much more handsome. Saria notices this and compliments him. But before leaving, a mix of sheep, ram, and bear appears. He is very elegant, revealing himself to be the labyrinth administrator. Since his name is Edward Hustenstein Balhidos, he prefers to be called Mr. Ram. He explains the reason for his appearance, saying that they are the first to complete the labyrinth, handing out rewards to them since they managed to complete it. They receive an evolution fruit cultivation set and a 10-day travel set. Additionally, he gives them new clothes and a special skill helmet. It can be opened to eat. After that, the ram transports them out of the forest. Iraj, together with Saria holding hands, begin a new path together. Their goal now is to reach the nearest city. On the way, Iraj comments to Saria about registering with an adventurer's guild. He thinks that way he'll have more chances to reunite with his companions. Further ahead, they encounter a slime, and Iraj uses his appraisal, realizing it is very strong. The slime jumps on Iraj's face to attack him. He responds by drawing his weapons and defeating it with a single blow. Then they pick up the items the slime dropped. Apparently, they are a pair of boots and some cards. Iraj gives the boots to Saria and takes the cards, acquiring new skills like absorption and comprehension. Thanks to this, his disguise skill evolves. He begins to think that he is getting closer and closer to becoming a monster. After that, Iraj's eyes start to glow, which makes him remove his helmet, which transforms into a wizard's robe, and a card also falls. Saria picks it up from the ground and hands it to him. Upon opening the card, the ram appears and explains the change of the helmet, saying that Iraj is becoming less and less human. The ram gives a brief explanation about his disguise skill, which has already leveled up and allows him to hide his powers. Then he says the card will self-destruct and disappears. After that, Iraj puts on the robe. Saria thinks the boots look very good on her, and the two head toward the city. They arrive at a city and try to enter but are stopped. The guard asks them to identify themselves, and Iraj says they lost their IDs on the way. The guard asks them to place their hands on a sphere called the Jewel of Truth to be sure whether they are criminals or not. Iraj is worried but places his hand and passes the test without problems, managing to enter the city, as does Saria. The guard asks them to get identification as soon as possible. Iraj says he will request one at the guild as soon as possible. The guard watches them worriedly and tells them not to approach that city's guild under any circumstances, and that they should stay strong if something happens. And if something bad happens, they can count on him, and he introduces himself as Cloud Shreezer. Cloud welcomes them to the city of Elbert, the imperial capital. Inside the city, they go to the guild. Iraj sees that the guild from the outside looks normal and thinks Cloud is exaggerating, and then decides to enter. Upon opening the door, he finds a somewhat strange scene and decides to back out, closing the door again. Saria looks and asks if they are not going in. Iraj says it's better to wait a bit, so they open the door again and realize that the guild is full of people with very strange fetishes. Without a doubt, he decides not to be part of it and tries to leave, but is interrupted by Gastel Crow, the guild master, who is extremely muscular. He starts doing bodybuilding poses while pushing Iraj and Saria into the guild. Gastel asks Eric to register him. She replies that she can't do her receptionist job wearing that outfit, so she snaps her fingers, changes clothes, and introduces herself as Eris McCline, the receptionist. Iraj decides to register at the strange guild, thinking of his companions. Also, Saria looks around and thinks everyone is having fun, so she thinks it's a good idea to register. Suddenly, 3 idiot vandals appear. They approach Iraj and ask if he is new around there. He replies that he just registered at the guild, and the vandals take him elsewhere. Saria is worried, but Iraj says he'll be fine and will be back in a second. The vandals take him to the back of the guild to introduce him to their leader, who welcomed Iraj, but not the way he expected. They invite Iraj to have fun with them, saying that's how they welcome newcomers. But he manages to escape by jumping over the rooftops of houses until he loses sight of them. After that, he returns to the guild. Eris mentions that the entrance exam will start soon. It consists of tasks like conquest, collection, escort, and extraction. Eris also mentions that they need a B-rank adventurer to supervise them during the exams. Iraj hopes it's no one strange. When he turns to look, it's a dark-skinned girl with white hair that leaves him speechless. Gastel introduces her as Artoria, an A-rank adventurer. She didn't want to supervise Iraj, but after much insistence from Gastel, she ended up accepting. Artoria apologizes to Iraj for what just happened and introduces herself as Artoria Green, also known as Artoria of Calamity. After that, we see Iraj together with Saria and Artoria walking through the city. Artoria explains the first step of the exam, which consists of various tasks. She explains that these tasks include taking care of some children, destroying some ruins, and walking the dog. She also mentions that the right thing would be to do only one task, but Gastel left them all the tasks that no one wants to do. Iraj and Saria tell Artoria how beautiful she looks when she smiles, making her embarrassed. After that, they arrive at the church, where the first task is taking care of some children. Saria volunteers, since it's her specialty, while Iraj and Artoria move on to the next task. On the way, they encounter a boy who hurt himself playing. Artoria approaches to help him. At that moment, some wooden planks fall on them, so Iraj tries to help them, but Artoria uses her defensive skill to protect the boy. Iraj observes her and thinks that she somehow already knew that was going to happen. Artoria lowers her gaze and mentions that there's no way around it. She always causes problems. Changing the scene, we see Iraj and Artoria in front of the ruins. Artoria tells him that this is the second task, which consists of demolishing all of this. He enters these ruins, and upon touching a wall, the structure collapses on top of him. Artoria gets worried, drops her weapon, and runs to try to save him. At that moment, she mentions something about her curse, which affects everyone around her and causes bad things to happen. Artoria continues searching for Iraj among the rubble, but then he comes out as if nothing had happened, commenting that he swallowed a lot of sand. She grabs him by the collar, telling him to listen to her instructions, and mentions that this carelessness was also her fault, and that she will be more careful next time. Also, she says she is glad he is okay, and immediately becomes embarrassed. Meanwhile, in another kingdom, we see Iraj's companions training hard. While the general talks to one of his subjects, the general tells the subject that he is going to make the team work very hard, so that they don't die in the war against the Demon King. He also makes it clear to his subject named Orp that he does not agree with the war against the demons, and if these summoned heroes come from a world that lives in peace, he wants them to continue living that way. That's why he is training them very hard, so that they clearly do not die in combat. Back to Iraj, we see him together with Artoria in front of a mansion. Artoria mentions that the last task is walking the dog. Iraj thinks it will be something very easy, but to his surprise, he ends up being chased by a supposed dog that is actually a giant wolf. On the other hand, we see the dog's owner and Artoria talking about Milk, the wolf that is having a lot of fun with Irage. The dog's owner notices that Artoria is very happy. Even as Artoria denies it, she knows it's because of Irage. After that, we see the three back at the guild, receiving payment for the work done. The guildmaster asks them to rest and return the next day for more work. Artoria offers lodging and food for Irage and Saria, which leaves Eris and Gastel very impressed, as they are not used to such kindness from her. The next day, we see Irage with the two continuing the guild exam. The task is to collect medicinal herbs that can be easily found around there. Completing this, they can pass the exam. Irage, thinking it would be easy, runs off to complete the task. Saria goes after him. Artoria tries to say that she hadn't finished explaining, but it's too late, as they are already far away. She reflects that she cannot let them get hurt because of her curse. After that, we see Saria and Irage return to Artoria. She asks them to show the medicinal herbs they collected. Saria shows her herbs, while Irage shows some special mushrooms with strange abilities that he found. Artoria says that for the exam they were supposed to bring medicinal herbs, not mushrooms. So Irage apologizes, saying he didn't find any. Artoria shows that there are herbs right at his feet. He picks these thinking he will complete the mission, but she says he still needs 5 more herbs. Irage runs off to look for more in the forest, but clearly cannot find any. Only special mushrooms and very rare plants, but he cannot find a common herb. Suddenly, Irage hears some voices in the distance and comes across a group of idiot demons. He decides to approach, asking if they have seen medicinal herbs. The demons think Irage is some kind of spy and that he could spread the plan they were putting together to everyone, and thus they will end up being punished by their boss. Irage realizes they are very strange creatures and tries to leave, but the group of demons stops him and introduces themselves as the special troop of Miss Leia, capturing the 3rd demon squadron. The group's leader summons a giant troll that attacks Irage, but Irage manages to absorb the giant troll's blow thanks to his skill, which allows him to have the same strength as his opponent. The group is impressed and tells Irage that they will let him off this time, fleeing soon after. Irage tries to ask about the herbs, but fails as they have already left, saying he couldn't find any herbs, only strange plants. Again, Artoria understands and gives him some medicinal herbs so he can pass this mission. He calls her boss and thanks her. On the other hand, we see the group of silly demons with Senorita Leia, who ask them why they disobeyed her orders and went to the human world. The group replies that they went to spread teleportation spells to weaken the human army. Leia asks where they want to teleport the humans. They reply that they want to throw them into the labyrinth of the Black Dragon God. Leia is surprised, but even so, she says she will punish them with 500 lashes. Back to Irage, he is with Saria. Suddenly Cloud appears and they tell him about their exams. He asks if Artoria is their supervisor. They confirm, mentioning that they are already on the final test to enter the guild. Cloud knows her well. The two say she is very important to them. She appears, asking if they already knew each other. Cloud replies yes and says she has found great people. After that, we see the three together, beginning the second test, which consists of annihilating 10 slimes. Artoria asks what Saria's weapon is. She says it's her fists. As unlikely as it seems, Irage says they are very strong. The test begins. In the middle of the test, Artoria notices that some slimes are disappearing, so she decides to review the field. She tells them that teleportation magic has been dispersed in this area, so she decides to cancel the exam and notify the guild. But she steps on one of these mines, and Irage, together with Saria, try to save her. However, the three are teleported to the labyrinth of the Black Dragon God. Artoria complains that they tried to save her. Now clearly the two are trapped with her, but Irage and Saria say their bodies moved on instinct. Artoria smiles and asks them not to separate, handing them a magic stone that serves as a guide if someone gets separated, and it also turns red if someone is in danger. Suddenly, Artoria steps on a trap that raises a wall separating them. Artoria gets worried and tries to break the wall with her fists but cannot, so she looks for a way to reunite with them again. Irage and Saria decide to use the magic stone that Artoria gave them. When they try to use the stone, it ends up hitting the wall, so they are forced to go another way. On the other hand, Artoria is fighting a mummy. She is badly injured, yet she does not give up. She tries to reunite with Irage and Saria as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the two are walking in circles through the labyrinth, not finding any path that connects them to Artoria. Then, Saria finds a room with a chest. Irage finds it very suspicious, so he decides to retreat. But at that moment, the chest speaks, asking them to open it. The chest grows arms and legs and throws itself at them, so Irage is forced to use his water spell, leveling it up. After defeating the chest, another chest appears. Inside, it is a book. Similarly to what happened with Shanos, it explains about the chests that were once widely used for labyrinth work. But over time, and with the development of inventory, the chests lost that fame. That's why arms and legs appeared on them, and they also learned to use magic, but humans no longer wanted them. Irage laments what happened to the chests. Saria notices that besides the book, there is also a ring and some cards. While Irage is evaluating the items, the magic stone starts to turn red. I admit I wanted to be the magic stone at that moment. And he remembers what Artoria mentioned. If it turns red, it clearly means they are in danger. Quickly, we see Artoria wounded in front of a large door. The door opens, and she decides to enter, finding a giant black dragon that prepares to fight her, and Artoria throws herself into combat. Meanwhile, we see the group of demons being struck. Leia asks if they have learned their lesson, and they say that the black dragon god doesn't even come close to her. She says that this dragon is the strongest in the Demon King's army. Saria and Iraj continue trying to find her, but the damn stone just hits the wall. Iraj even tried to punch it, but his hand isn't strong enough. Meanwhile, Artoria continues fighting the dragon god, who congratulates her for resisting so long. She decides to use all her power, demonstrating why they call her Artoria of Calamity, and activates her skill called Calamity Berserker, throwing herself at the dragon, who without any difficulty defends all her attacks and wounds her severely. Even using all her strength, she ends up on the ground, and the dragon moves to finish her with his final attack. Artoria apologizes and remembers Iraj and Saria, saying she won't be able to meet them again, and that because of her, they are involved in all this, and it's possible they might even die. When he unleashes his flames, Iraj and Saria appear, protecting Artoria with his robe. Even as Iraj's robe gets damaged, they manage to prevent Artoria from dying. Artoria asks how they found her. Iraj explains that it was thanks to the magic stone that turned red, indicating someone was in danger. To not waste time, Iraj pulled strength from who knows where and punched through the labyrinth walls until he reached her. Iraj hands a potion to Saria to heal Artoria's wounds. Then he goes out to fight the dragon, who is unconscious because before they arrived, they fell right on top of him. The dragon rises, cursing Iraj as he draws his swords, preparing for the fight. The dragon already launches a powerful fire attack, but Iraj managed to dodge, leaving the dragon very irritated, who attacks with his Supreme Claws skill, throwing Iraj far away, who uses his appraisal skill to realize that this is the Black Dragon God, who has a level of 5,000, practically double his. Iraj continues dodging the dragon's attacks with his instant movement, but what he didn't expect is that the dragon, besides counter-attacking, uses a skill to paralyze him, and thus lands a direct hit. Iraj realizes that most of his skills are having no effect, and the dragon, seeing that his enemy is quite strong, decides to use his most powerful spells, which simulate the flames of hell, and then charges this skill. While the dragon is charging his power, Saria tells Iraj to counterattack using his water spell, which hits the dragon directly. The dragon manages to resist and goes on the attack again. He paralyzes Iraj again, but this time Iraj manages to resist and acquires a skill for that, freeing himself from the dragon's paralysis and finishing him off in a single blow. Before dying, the dragon says he just wanted to live alongside someone. He fell again before humans, leaving behind valuable items. Iraj at that moment collapses, very tired, and realizes he has accumulated a lot of experience and begins to level up rapidly. Saria is happy that he is okay, while Artoria is asleep due to the effects of the medicine. He is happy that everyone is okay, but Saria panics because she doesn't know how to get out of there, so she approaches the items left by the dragon to look for something useful. She acquires the dragon's scales, claws, and bones. He also finds a black sphere that would be the dragon god's jewel, and by eating it, all magical and physical abilities would improve. Without thinking, he swallows the ball in one go, acquiring a dimensional magic skill that allows him to travel between dimensions. Additionally, the chest reveals a robe that grants him excellent offensive and defensive capabilities, protecting him from normal weapons. And finally, they find the biography of the Black Dragon God, which tells that the dragon was once a protector of humans, but then humans wanted to use his body to create weapons and planned to annihilate him. However, the Demon King saved him, gaining his trust. Then humans summoned heroes who ended up killing the Demon King. The Black Dragon God was sealed in a dungeon and swore revenge on all humans. Iraj laments having killed the dragon. After that, a message appears from Mr. Ram, congratulating him for completing another labyrinth, concluding the mission to kill the dragon. Iraj hopes for a reward, but receives absolutely nothing, besides the news that Mr. Ram is on vacation at a beach. After a while, with Iraj's teleportation powers, they manage to leave the dungeon to return to the guild. And on the way, Artoria wakes up. She starts squirming, wanting to get off Iraj's lap. He insists that she stay in his lap, explaining that her wounds haven't fully healed yet. Artoria calms down and understands, and shows Iraj her stats, particularly her luck, which is minus 2 million. She explains that she is very unlucky, since from birth she acquired this curse, making everyone around her unhappy. Iraj asks if it's possible to break the curse. She replies that it's not possible, and that she will have to continue making people unhappy forever. Iraj tells her that he doesn't feel unhappy by her side, and Saria clearly doesn't either, making her feel a bit better. After that, they arrive at the guild, where they are well received, as they were already gathering information to look for them, believing they had clearly gotten lost. Artoria realized that there are people who care about her, and Iraj makes it clear that neither he nor Saria nor the people in the guild mind her condition, making her run off very embarrassed. On the other hand, the group of idiot demons were in their hideout, gambling when they receive news that the Black Dragon God has been defeated, concluding that someone is against them. Back to Iraj. He continues searching for Artoria throughout the city until he finds Adriana, the wolf's owner. She unfortunately doesn't know where Artoria is, but asks Iraj for a favor. She wants him to get closer to Artoria because of her condition. Iraj says he will do that, as he knows her condition and she's become important to him. After saying goodbye, he continues searching, and with the help of the stone Artoria gave him, he manages to find her in the ruins that Iraj had previously destroyed. So he approaches to talk to her. She asks him if she is an undesirable being. He replies no, since she has companions who are happy to have her around. Artoria still seems not to have improved, and Iraji, to make her feel better, hugs her, saying he will always be with her until the day she feels better about herself and can smile from the heart. Saria, on the other hand, is worried because they are taking too long. Little does she know that her husband is hugging another girl. Meanwhile, Artoria is very embarrassed. And after a long time hugging, Iraj has no idea what to do now. He only knows that she smells very good, so he ends up pulling away while she thanks him. Iraj thinks about how to break her curse. Such a sweet person doesn't deserve the punishment she has, and he remembers the ring he had obtained, giving it to her as a gift, and explaining that this ring removes curses and doubles her luck, taking her from -2 million to +4 million luck. Iraj asks that from now on, they be happy together to compensate for all the unhappiness she had to live through, making Artoria very embarrassed and slightly misunderstanding his words. Thinking that by giving her the ring, he was proposing marriage. She pushes him and runs away again, and Iraj has no idea what he did, but begins to reflect on the words he said, concluding that Artoria probably got confused. So he goes after her to clear things up, but he thinks a little more and remembers that she is happy with this, so he decides not to say anything. After all, it wouldn't be so bad to marry her. The next day, we see Iraj together with Saria having breakfast. Saria looks at him and asks what's going on, and he replies that Artoria is avoiding him. Saria explains that maybe she hates him at the moment. Iraj asks how she can be sure, and Saria replies that it's an animal instinct. She mentions that she's going to the church to play with the children, while Iraj goes out to gather information. He decides to go to the guild to talk to Master Gazelle, who offers a mini course to gain muscle from beginner to advanced. Iraj refuses the proposal, so Eris appears telling Iraj that she has the information he needed, also offering some rather strange services, but Iraj rejects the whole proposal. No more jokes or weird proposals. Gazelle asks what he really needs, so he asks if he has heard of any important event lately. Gazelle mentions that a certain country summoned some heroes, and Eris comments that they are summoned from another world for the battle against the Demon King. Iraj is impressed to learn that they will battle against the king. Eris invites him to go to the royal library to learn more about the subject, so Gazelle pulls a map from his underwear and hands it to him. It's the path to the royal library that he was keeping in a terrible place. After that, we see Iraj looking at the map and thinking about all his companions. Then suddenly the scene changes. We see Kaiser, the king of the country that summoned the heroes, cursing Commander Zakia, who is in charge of training the summoned heroes, saying it makes no sense to have summoned the heroes if they are not doing any practical training. At that moment, the mage beside him, named Ruben, says that there are many heroes who already wish to fight the demons. Even so, Kaiser replies that if they are not properly trained, many lives will be lost against the Demon King. Then Ruben proposes sending the heroes to the Salvador Magic Academy. Kaiser approves and asks how they will make them obey. Ruben answers, showing King Kaiser a submission bracelet, and they can force all academy students to wear it. That way, they will be easily controlled. After that, we see Artoria running through the city, feeling very strange because every time she sees Iraj, she runs away from him, and when she thinks of him, her heart beats very fast. Meanwhile, our boy is at the royal library, searching for information about the country where his companions were summoned. He also starts researching and learns more about magic. And with every book he reads, he automatically acquires a new skill, such as casting magic without incantations, ice magic, thunder magic, fire magic, water magic, light magic, and wind magic. In the end, a voice congratulates him and says he has acquired the maximum level in all magic elements. Iraj can't believe it, yet he continues receiving more skills. Meanwhile, Saria is having fun playing with the children. Then, Iraj starts walking through the city streets, a bit sad because he couldn't gather information that would help him find his friends. Next, he approaches a girl with dog ears. He clearly thought she was very beautiful, so he bought a painting, then let himself be carried away by a very sweet aroma, and arrived at the place it came from, which is a cafe. Before entering, he thinks about whether the people there will be as strange as those in the guild, but ignores it because he's very hungry, so he decides to enter right away. Upon entering, he meets a blonde man with the bartender, who welcomes him to the cafe called Cozy Cafe. Meanwhile, we return to Artoria, who continues walking through the city because of what she's feeling. Adriana appears and offers to talk about what Artoria is feeling. Along with that, Iraj is enjoying his meal, while the blonde man interrupts, laughing and asking if he is an adventurer. Iraj replies that he only became an official adventurer yesterday, and the blonde man introduces himself as Hansi. Iraj also introduces himself, and Hans asks if he comes from the Eastern nation, since his name is very typical of that region. Iraj lies and says yes. Then Hans orders a coffee from Noah. Back to Artoria, we see her sitting talking with Adriana. Adriana summarizes for Artoria that she is in love. She tries to deny it, saying that's impossible, but Adriana notices the ring on her hand, so she sees no choice and simply admits that she really is, and asks Adriana for help so that Iraj knows what she feels for him. Adriana agrees to help her, as she has an effective method to win him over. Meanwhile, Iraj also talks about his situation, telling Han and Noah about the ring he gave to Artoria. They say that giving a ring to a woman in this country is a symbol of marriage, and it's very possible that this is what the girl understood, and if he decides to reject her, he could be executed, or in the best case, he could also be castrated. But Iraj tells them that he already has a woman in his heart. Yes, folks, it's Saria. So Noah gives him some fatherly advice. Either he must take responsibility or sincerely apologize. Iraj thanks Hans and Noah for the advice and leaves to find Artoria to clear up the misunderstanding. As soon as Iraj leaves, Noah tells Hans that he shouldn't be there, as it could cause problems exposing himself like that. But he tells Noah not to worry, since the strongest swordswoman in the kingdom, named Louise, will come to get him. After that, we see Iraj walking through the city. While thinking about how to tell Artoria about the misunderstanding, he passes by the church to look for Saria. While waiting, he also thinks about telling everything to Saria and resolving the situation the next day. But well, at that moment, Artoria appears. She calls Iraj, he sees her and thinks about talking about the misunderstanding. However, when he tries, he is surprised to see that Artoria gives him a kiss. She says she already knows everything. Even so, she doesn't want to get in the way of him and Saria, but she still wants to be by his side. She clearly loves him. At that moment, he tries to say what he feels and remembers Hans telling him to stay with both. Saria shows up right at that moment and sees the two very close. Iraj tries to explain, saying it's not what she thinks, but Saria tells him to accept his feelings for Artoria, since it's normal for alphas to attract many females. She already knew she wouldn't have Iraj all to herself. Iraj, surprised, looks at Artoria, confesses his feelings for her, and gives her a kiss. The next day, we see Iraj and Saria eating at the guild. Suddenly, Gazelle appears and interrupts them, saying that high-level adventurers need a horse to be able to travel long distances. So he pulls a map from his underwear, a place that fits everything, and hands it to Iraj so he can acquire a horse. Later, Iraj walks to the location marked on Gazel's map. He arrives at the location, but with some difficulty, as he didn't understand the map very well. Since Saria and Artoria were very busy, they couldn't accompany him. Iraj decides to enter the place and finds the owner, who welcomes him and shows him the available horses, thinking Iraj wants to compete in the Royal Cup, a horse race that takes place around the wall, where anything goes. Iraj observes the horse options, and the owner offers him a silly horse that dies just from the taps a seller gives. Then he presents a female donkey. The owner talks about the animal's wonders while caressing it, but the female donkey kicks him and starts hitting him on the ground while he says various things. Iraj realizes that the donkey is speaking and accidentally acquires a new skill called animal comprehension, which allows him to understand everything the donkey is saying. She asks Iraj to come in, and when he does, the donkey falls on top of him. Iraj dodges easily, and the donkey is impressed but continues attacking. To end it, he grabs her by the legs and lifts her, preventing her from hitting him. The donkey surrenders and asks to be put down, so Iraj accepts on the condition that she won't attack him again. After he lowers her, we see the donkey kneeling before him, saying he is worthy of being her master. Thus, she introduces herself as Luluni. The stable owner gets up all bruised, and Iraj takes the opportunity to say he'll take Luluni. The owner wakes up angry and wants to take it out on Iraj, but Luluni responds by kicking him right in the face. After taking that beating, he accepts that Iraj takes the donkey while thanking him from the ground. Further ahead, we see Iraj walking through the city with Luluni. She gets hungry because of the delicious smell she notices nearby, so Iraj decides to buy something for her to eat. Luluni realizes that he is a good-hearted man. After that, we see Iraj and Luluni sitting at a fountain where they start eating. Later, the two pass by where Iraj had bought a painting before. He notices that the girl with dog ears was being bothered by a blonde boy and decides to approach. The girl named May recognizes Iraj. She's happy and thanks him for buying the painting, while the boy named Clyde insists that May participate in an art contest. May thinks her paintings aren't good enough to participate in that contest. Since Iraj bought May's paintings, Clyde asks if Iraj bought one of her paintings, but Iraj says no. Clyde gets irritated and shows art to Iraj, but Iraj says it's just a triangle. Even as he explains the meaning, Iraj still thinks it's just a triangle. So, to change the subject, he continues insisting that she participate with him in the art contest. Iraj tells May that he will participate in the Royal Cup, and if he comes in first place, she should participate in the art contest. May asks Iraj if he's sure he's going to participate, and if he's not afraid to participate in an anything goes contest. He replies that he is, but he'll still participate, while thinking that people like May need to be helped. Clyde says there's a delicious fish that's one of the prizes, making Luluni very excited to participate. The next day, we see Iraj together with Saria, Artoria, and Luluni at the annual Royal Cup. Soon we see Iraj together with Luluni at the race starting point, where a brief explanation of the prizes and rules is given. The first prize is a package of sexy photos of Captain Valkyrie named Louise, as well as an invitation to spend the entire day with the Valkyries. But Iraj and Luluni are only interested in the prize of a fish mentioned by Clyde. Speaking of him, he appears with May. She tries to convince him not to participate since the race looks very dangerous, but he remains firm, saying his whole life has been complicated and he won't give up so easily. After that, the explanation continues. The race consists of leaving the city, going around it, and entering again. Also, it is allowed to attack opponents with any type of magic or weapon. In other words, anything goes. After this brief explanation, the race begins. Some cheap horses die just from the cannon shot. Iraj stays in last place since Luluni, due to anxiety about eating the fish, clearly forgot to eat breakfast. Hearing that, Iraj decides to look for something for her to eat in his inventory and finds an evolution fruit. He gives it to Lulu to eat, which restores her energy. Meanwhile, we see two competitors battling to eliminate each other. One of the participants uses a wolf whistle, calling a huge pack along with an A-rank hellhound. After that, the announcer tries to suspend the race, but notices something in the distance. It's Iraj together with Luluni, who, after eating the fruit, run at full speed without being able to stop. They dodge the opponents with a super jump and land right in the middle of the B-rank pack, throwing everyone away, defeating them all. Lulu tells the big wolf to get out of her way, but he prepares to attack them. Luluni runs and jumps, kicking the big wolf's nose and defeating him. The opponents soon give up. They won't be able to fight against the two, so they quickly continue the race and end up winning. Everyone is super proud of the two. That's why May is inspired and decides to participate in the art contest. Later, we see Luluni with Iraj. She is very sad because the fish went to 5th place and apologizes to Iraj, but he says it's okay. They won 1st place, and there are tastier things in the world to try than a fish. She goes toward Iraj, saying she will serve him for her entire life, and begins to evolve, transforming into a girl. After that, Saria and Artoria arrive and see Lulu in the form of a naked girl, very close to Iraj. He tries to explain what's happening. Artoria is already prepared to finish him off, but he says he gave an evolution fruit to Luluni, and that's why she is now a girl. Artoria doesn't care and punches him in the face. Iraj falls to the ground from the blow, while Artoria asks if he didn't have a better excuse. Saria proves that Iraj is telling the truth by transforming back into a gorilla, mentioning that she also evolved. Seeing her, Artoria is impressed, and after that she takes Luluni to a clothing store to dress her. At that moment, they are interrupted by two girls who ask for Iraj. They introduce themselves as Valkyries. The blue-haired one is named Claudia, and the orange-haired one is named Lorna. Claudia looks at our boy and asks if he's Iraj. He replies yes, so she approaches and asks him to show his hands. Iraj does so, and immediately Claudia places a spell on his hands that simulates gems. Then they say he is under arrest, with the excuse that he must go with them. After that, we see Leia, the captain of the 3rd Demon Army Squadron. She arrives at a kind of meeting with other demon commanders. We also see the captain of the 2nd Squadron, Zora Galtur, the captain of the 1st Squadron, Zero Salvana, Jad, captain of the Disciplinary Squadron, Urubao, captain of the 5th Division, and finally the captain of the 4th Squadron, Realeta Valhehin. Everyone complains that Leia is late, and when she sits down, she asks about a young lady named Lucia. After that, a gate opens and all the captains stand up. We are introduced to the Demon King's daughter named Lucia Burrow, and her silly assistant named Crage. Lucia explains the reason for the meeting, to form an alliance with the Windberg Kingdom, specifically with humans. This information impresses the captains, and her assistant Chris says that making an alliance with humans is madness, since they imprisoned her father earlier and always want to oppress them. Leia explains to Senorita Lucia that it was a human from the Windberg Kingdom who defeated the Black Dragon God, which impresses all the other captains. Soon we see Leia performing a kind of ritual to summon the soul of the Black Dragon God. Leia tells the Dragon God that she will seek the best warriors to avenge his defeat, but the dragon says it's not necessary since the battle against the human was fair and head-on, admitting that he lost fairly. On the other hand, Lucia says that for everyone's smile to return, humans and demons must exist and clearly also coexist. At that, Crate interrupts her, telling her to remember the prophecy that says, if demons and humans coexist, many bad things will happen to demons. Lucia replies that she can offer her life in exchange for the alliance with humans, but Chris says her life is worth nothing. The captains, upon hearing this, threaten Chris, who leaves the room saying that allying with humans is a mistake and they will pay dearly. Lucia tells the captains that she needs their strength to fulfill her goal. They reply that they are willing to serve her in the name of the Demon King. After that, we see Chris saying that no one will ruin his plans, which he will put into practice despite this setback that the queen is causing. Back to Erage. We see him together with Claudia and Lorna on the way to Archel Castle in the Windber Kingdom. He asks why they are taking him there, and Claudia asks if he doesn't remember winning the Royal Cup. Erage asks what that has to do with it, and Lorna explains that the winner will have to spend a day with the Valkyries. So he asks why he is handcuffed. Lorna replies that it's a way to get things done faster, but they continue peacefully. Erage shouts for her not to come with that peace talk and wants to be released immediately. Claudia agrees to release him, and the two begin to show him the castle, arriving in time to witness the Valkyries training. Then we are introduced to the Valkyrie commander, Senorita Louise Lorna. After observing Louise, she is attacked by several of her companions, but easily defeats them all, praising herself for having improved her speed. He is impressed with how fast she is, since not even with his sixth sense skill could he keep up with her pace. Louise congratulates her companions and asks them to rest, while picking up a wooden sword and approaching Erage, who introduces himself. Louise also introduces herself as captain of the Valkyries of the Windberg Kingdom. Erage extends his hand to shake hers, but Louisa hands him the wooden sword and asks for a training match. He asks if he can go home now, but Louise ignores him and prepares to fight. Meanwhile, we see Erage's companions being teleported to the training room, where we see the student council president along with two companions. They approach a group of kids who challenge them to a competition to see who defeats more monsters. This idiot tries to hit on the president, but ends up getting slapped in the face, and she says she has no time for such childish disputes. After that, we return to Erage's fight with the Valkyrie captain. Claudia and Lorna are impressed to see how someone can keep up with the commander's pace. Erage has to end it all quickly, but the captain takes it as an affront, so the captain delivers her final attack. At that moment, Erage's skills evolve, and his sixth sense becomes a world vision skill, and he acquires a defensive reflex skill that allows him to dodge Louise's attack and defeat her, making her sword fly away with a kick. The battle ends, and all the Valkyries are impressed to see how their captain was defeated and ask for explanations about what happened. Erage has no idea how he managed to move that way, falling sitting on the ground. But the captain approaches Erage, asking if she can call him master, which leaves Erage very impressed. Louise kneels and says she counts on him, and from now on she calls him master again. Claudia appears, saying she wants to talk to him for a moment. Then we see the king of this country preparing to take a bath while being stalked by an assassin. Meanwhile, we see Erage together with Claudia having coffee. Claudia explains that Captain Louise has been a prodigy with the sword since birth, and matching her pace and defeating her without using any kind of magic is very impressive. Claudia also mentions that the only one who could be at the captain's or Erage's level would be the Dark Paladin. Then they are interrupted by Louisa, who apologizes to Erage for calling him master, but Erage says she shouldn't worry. Louise thanks Erage for saving her from loneliness, since she practiced fencing since she was little, and no one wanted to fight her or train with her simply because she was too strong, and many saw her as a genius, making her feel a bit out of place. Claudia also thanks him for saving her captain, and Louise thanks Claudia for bringing Erage. The two hug while crying. He says that if they need him for training, he can gladly help, even though he has nothing to teach. And at that moment, Erage acquires a new skill called teaching. Louise invites Erage for a match, but right then, a maid's scream is heard. Everyone goes there to see what's happening, and the maid says someone attacked the king. Louise asks Erage to leave because it could be very dangerous, but he insists on staying to help. Claudia explains that they cannot involve him in this since he is an outsider. So Erage is forced to leave, but he thinks for a moment and uses his world vision skill. Using it, he manages to discover who is responsible for the attack, realizing it's a young assassin girl. Then he uses his appraisal skill to see the assassin's stats and realizes she is just an 8-year-old child. Apparently, she is also a slave. He sees where the girl is and jumps to the roof. Erage, seeing her, says she really looks like an assassin. She doesn't ask anything, just goes after him, throwing kunai at him. But Erage catches them as if it were nothing, thanks to his defensive reflex skill, and praises her for throwing one kunai after another, a very advanced and intelligent technique. However, Erage's defensive skill makes him throw the kunai back at her. Then he shouts for her to dodge, so the kunai pin her against the wall by her robe. It was close, and he makes it clear it was unintentional. He approaches her, but she ends up freeing herself and goes after Erage. He dodges her attack and says she is very fast, so he decides to knock her out to interrogate her later. Suddenly, the Valkyries arrive, asking Erage who that girl is. He replies that she is the assassin. The captain can't believe it and tells Lorna to interrogate her, since she is clearly better at this job. Despite her appearance, she is the best in the kingdom, and has interrogated people alongside Eris with whipping. He asks if the king is okay. The Valkyries say the king is injured, and this kunai that wounded him has a curse that prevents him from waking up, so they wonder if there is any way to help break this curse. After investigating Thinking a bit, he has an idea and asks the Valkyries to take him to the king. After that, we see Iraj impressed to realize that the king is the blonde he met before at the cafe. Yes, it's Hansa. He observes the curse wounds, and Louisa asks if he already knew the king. Iraj replies that he met him a short time ago. Iraj had no idea that he was the king and hopes he didn't speak disrespectfully. At that moment, the older brother of the Valkyrie captain appears, the captain of the kingdom's sorcerers, who asks if Iraj is the one who can break the king's curse. Louisa introduces her brother, whose name is Florio Berge. Florio explains the situation to Iraj, saying that he has already healed the wounds with healing magic, but cannot do anything about the curse. Apologizing, Florio asks Iraj for help in breaking this curse. Iraj accepts to help and starts thinking about how to break it. Then he remembers his magic creation skill and begins the process of breaking the curse. But to do that, he needs a clear image of what the curse is. However, he ends up thinking about unrelated things. So he switches and starts visualizing the king getting better and begins to mentally tell the king to get better until he says it out loud and learns a new skill, which is a reverse magic called improve. After he says improve out loud, he thinks he will be judged. But soon they hear that the eternal sleep curse has been replaced by the eternal health blessing. King Hans wakes up and sees everyone present there. They thank Iraj for saving the king. King Hans also expresses his gratitude, telling Iraj that he can ask for anything, and the king will fulfill it. Iraj says not to worry, but as they insist quite a bit, he remembers that there is one thing he wants to do. After that, we see King Kaiser, Ruben, and Zakia. He asks the king about Iraj's companions. King Kaiser says they are slaves and sent them to the Babador Magic Academy, and that was for the king's own benefit. Soon we see that they are at this magic academy. Then we see the student council leader Kanazuki, along with her companions Kenji and Takamiya. They are talking and are interrupted again. It's Turento, Oyama, Tsuyoshi, Kizagar, and Maya, who start bothering Kanazuki's group, making various threats. She asks them to leave, but they become more aggressive. Kenji also prepares to fight, but Maya stops them, saying she only wants to know what they were talking about. Kanazuki says they were just talking about why the heroes are being condemned to stay at this academy. Then Maya replies that the king just wanted to screw them over. Back to Iraj. He is together with King Hans, taking a hot bath in the hot springs while talking about their dreams. Meanwhile, Louisa, Lorna, and Claudia are also bathing. They remember the favor Iraj asked of the king, which was permission to practice fencing with them. After that, we see Artoria, Saria, and Luluni taking a bath. Artoria asks Saria if she isn't worried about Iraj. She replies that Iraj is fine and there's nothing to worry about. Artoria mentions that two beautiful Valkyries took him and feels jealous that he might come back with another woman, even imagining those two Valkyries hitting on him. But her imagination is interrupted by the guild master. Artoria really has a very fertile imagination. Meanwhile, Iraj is washing King Hans's back, who tells Iraj that he has a desire to build public baths all over the world, and also mentions that he wants to do it regardless of race, whether humans, demons, or beasts. That's why he wants the war to end, so that everyone can live together in peace, saying it's a dream he has, but hopes it will become reality very soon. After that, we see King Kaiser together with Ruben. Zakia asks the king if it's true that he sent the heroes to the Babador Magic Academy. King Kaiser says yes. Then Zakia replies that they are not ready yet. Ruben asks Zakia to be more respectful to the king, but he says the heroes might rebel and end up using their powers against them. Then Ruben replies that he put submission bracelets on them. If they try to remove them, they might die. Zakia is outraged, and at that moment they are attacked by an arrow. Zakia destroys the arrow effortlessly. Then the king asks him to find the person responsible. Zakia obeys the orders and goes to capture the one responsible for this. After he leaves, Ruben mentions to King Kaiser that King Hans of the Windberg Kingdom wants to make an alliance with the demons, going against King Kaiser's ideas. So the king replies that he has already put the plan into action. Then we discover that King Kaiser sent the assassin who was captured by Irajish, and Kaiser swears revenge for the humiliation that King Hans made him suffer. Later we see Iraj waking up. He comes across Artoria and his girlfriends. Florio is also in the middle. He comments that these girls were looking for Iraj, saying that Saria was worried about him and couldn't control her jealousy. But actually we know it was Artoria who was jealous. Then the Valkyrie captain appears. So she looks at Iraj angrily and tries to strike him, but he explains who she is. So Artoria recognizes her as the Lady of the Sword, introducing Saria as his wife, Artoria as his girlfriend, and Luluni as his servant. Florio is envious and thinks his life is crazy. Meanwhile, we see Lorna together with the assassin. Lorna is dressed in a somewhat extravagant way and prepares to interrogate her, while Lorna interrogates the assassin in various ways and with various punishments, including leaving her hungry and saying she could eat if she told everything she knows. Irish interrupts along with Louisa, and they decide to interrogate the assassin themselves. Also, Louisa gives a punishment to Lorna for using that hunger method. Lorna will not be able to have dinner tonight. Iraj releases the assassin and lets her eat. Louise explains that the necklace she is wearing is the slavery necklace, and because of that necklace, she cannot say who ordered her to kill the king. Iraj asks if they can't just remove it. The assassin shows that she can remove it, and every time she tries, she ends up suffering greatly. Meanwhile, Kaiser finds out that the assassin failed, so he orders Ruban through the necklace to make her kill herself. He obeys, doing so immediately. Meanwhile, we see Zakia sharpening his sword. He asks himself why he does all this for that kingdom, since most of Kaiser's attitudes no longer please him. Then we see him again pursuing the person responsible for the attack on the king. The responsible says he arrived late. Zakia asks if he really was responsible for the attack on the king. He replies yes, and we discover his name is Shen. He prepares to fight Zakia. Seeing this, Zakia asks why he wants to plunge the country into chaos. Shen replies that the country is already in chaos, and his goal is only to avenge what they did to his beloved, who was a demon named Nutriana. She did no harm to humans and was murdered by the Empire for no reason. Therefore, Shen swore to avenge her death. He also mentions that Zakia is just a puppet of the king, but Zakia replies that he is not a puppet, and they begin to battle. The battle is well fought, but Shen decides to escape, leaving Zakia with many doubts. After that, we see Iraj using his creation magic on the slavery necklace. He creates a clear image of how to free the assassin. He ends up imagining President Lincoln, who freed many slaves. He appears behind him shouting free several times. With that, Iraj acquires a new skill called liberation magic. Iraj and the president manage to break the spell of the slavery necklace. Iraj's group was watching everything. He says the assassin is free, making her start to cry. Lorna teases Iraj, saying he made a little child cry. After a while, we see the assassin begin to talk about her past and say her name is Auriga Calmeria, a prisoner of the Kaiser kingdom. She is clearly a cat girl. She was separated from her mother and locked in one of the special facilities where she was tortured and trained to be an assassin in the Kaiser kingdom. She says she has been killing since she was very young, and because of the necklace, she had to obey orders. Therefore, her hands are completely stained. Iraj holds her hand and tells her to be calm. Now she can start from zero because none of it was her fault. And as for King Kaiser, he sees her as a little sister, so he says he can be considered her older brother. Saria asked Iraj if she can't stay with them. Iraj accepts, saying it's a great idea. Auriga tells them not to do that because she is a traitor, and they will come looking for her to assassinate her. Even so, Iraj says he will protect her and won't let anything happen. So he looks at Louisa and asks if she thinks it's a good idea. Louise accepts that Auriga stays with him without problems. She also reveals that they were already thinking of asking him to take care of her, and comments that King Hans already wanted to protect her. Auriga asks if they are sure, and Iraj confidently says yes. After that, we see Ruben speaking through a sphere with the demon queen servant Chris, who says he had to make major changes to his plans. Ruben asks if that was because of Lucia's decision to form an alliance with the Windbird Kingdom. Chris replies yes and asks Ruben if he is ready to act. Then Ruben replies that he is just waiting for Chris to be ready to start at once. At that moment, we see Chris showing an army of demons to Ruben, saying they can now put their plans into action. After that, we see Iraj together with Florio, training to control his magic. Florio congratulates him and says he has improved a lot since they started. Despite the real chaos he caused, Iraj apologized for the mess, and we see Saria and Artoria also training. At that moment, Louise appears, going to Iraj and asking for a favor. She wants Iraj to scout King Hans, since the Dark Paladin informed that there is movement of monsters near the region, and he is holding them off with just an army, but it's not enough. Therefore, Louisa must go to the battlefield along with the Valkyries, and she explains to Iraj how long it will take to return and trust both King Hans and the kingdom to Iraj. He accepts to take care of the king and the kingdom while she is absent. About to leave, Saria asks how long she will take. She says she doesn't know, but she will arrive very soon. With her help, the war will end quickly. Iraj tells her to be careful on the way. Louisa smiles, summoning her army of Valkyries to head toward the battlefield, leaving Iraj in charge. The next day, we see Iraj still practicing control of his magic, which he learned to master very quickly, being praised by Florio and acquiring a new skill called Endless Inferno. Iraj wonders what this new skill would be and realizes that the more powerful he becomes, the less he can control it. At that moment, Gazel and Eris arrive. They came to see the king, as they brought the holy sorcerer to visit him. Florio is very impressed and immediately praises the mage. Iraj introduces himself, and the holy sorcerer does the same with the name Barme. He approaches Florio and asks who this gentleman is. Florio explains that he is one of the best mages of all elements in the kingdom. Barm recognizes Florio as a very talented sorcerer, leaving him very happy, affirming that nothing in his life was in vain. After that, we see King Hans, Gazelle, Eris, and Iraj together. King Hans is impressed when the holy sorcerer appears and immediately kneels before him, and Eris quickly grabs a chair for him to sit on. When Hans asks what the holy sorcerer is doing here today, Barmi explains that he wants to talk about his academy. Iraj asks Florio which academy he is talking about. Then we discover that Barm is the director of the Babador Magic Academy. After that, we see Kanazuki training in front of her companions, who are impressed with her sword skill. She notices some very unpleasant looks on her, which must surely be the work of Kizaraj and the other idiots. Meanwhile, we see Iraj Iraj together with the king. Barm talks about the heroes summoned from another world, as he fears they will cause problems at his academy. Suddenly, they are interrupted by a guard. He informs them that 5,000 S-rank monsters are approaching to attack the city. King Hans is impressed by the number of gathered S-rank monsters, and Barmy mentions not to worry, as the kingdom has plenty of Valkyries who can protect them. But Hans replies that they left for another battle. After that, we see Louisa and the Dark Paladin. The two are in front of the monster army at the border. Louisa draws her sword, leaving everyone enchanted. She charges at the monsters, and all her Valkyries follow her. They continue fighting and are informed that a monster army is heading to the capital. That's when we see that Chris is laughing, and we hear Ruben's voice saying that the Lady of the Sword and the Dark Paladin are trapped at the border, giving them the opportunity to attack the kingdom of Telt, where Hans is king. Ruben makes it clear that there are still people who can cause problems, and one of them would be Iraji, who is together with Barm and King Hans on the walls of Telt City, preparing for the battle against the monsters. They form a very large army, but everyone is already prepared for combat. Saria is already warming up her arms for a brawl, but Luluni is very nervous. Her only motivation is to fight to eat tasty food. Origa says she will do her best to help them, but Iraj asks her not to overdo it. Several other heroes came to help, some very strange guys from the Adventurers Guild, who I guarantee are much worse than Gazelle. After that, Gazelle already charges with Eris, and he gets hit on the head with a club, but Eris saves him. Everyone is watching them, so Irish thinks he should go too, but Baum tells him not to rush and just observe what his group can do. They advance and start destroying all the monsters, each with their special attack. It really looks like a mess, but what matters is that it's working. At least for now, a legendary assassin comes face to face with a giant beast, but manages to defeat it without any effort. Iraj and Hans are impressed, and he worries about Saria, but she puts her gorilla hand and hits the beast in the face. While Artoria is using her ice spell, the holy sorcerer notices it is high level. After Luluni finishes off one monster's race, and Origa finishes another, Barm finds himself obliged to use his spells to finish off most of the monsters. Besides the Rain of Flash, he also throws a tornado at the beasts, but they are soon warned that another army is approaching through the forest. Not only is it twice the size of the first, it's also S-rank. Iraj finally realizes that the real battle for the kingdom has just begun. While the group is doing their best, Iraj reflects on what he should do to help them, since the monsters are getting stronger and are greater in number. So, Iraj has the idea to create a definitive spell that can help them wipe out all the monsters. Barm asks what spell he is talking about. He thinks of something with a very wide attack, like the Judgment of Gods. So he gets the idea to launch an attack called Judgment. He feels embarrassed, thinking it didn't work, but we see a statue launching lightning that kills many monsters. Some of the lightning ends up falling on Gazelle and Eris, but it has no effect, as it only hits people he considers harmful. Then we see that all the monsters were defeated, saving the kingdom of Telt. On the other hand, we see that one of the lightning bolts fell right on Chris, who can't believe his army was defeated so quickly. Back to Iraj, he begins to be praised by King Hans, but they are interrupted as Iraj receives a lot of experience, leveling up many times. But he says he doesn't want to stop being human, since he has skills that he himself considers cheating. After that, Iraj's group approaches to see if he is okay. Origa asks Iraj to pat her head, and Barm makes the same request, but Iraj refuses. Barmy approaches and says that wasn't what he meant to say. He just offers him a job as a teacher at his magic academy. After that, we see Kanazuki along with Kenji and Shouta walking through the academy. And while walking, they come across a girl named Sito. Back to Iraj, he and his group talk with Barmy and ask why he chose him as a teacher. Barmy replies that he was impressed by his magic, and that he had never seen that type of spell, and he believes he can learn a lot from Iraj, and that Iraj can also teach his students about magic and fencing. But unfortunately, Iraj rejects the offer because he would have to leave his companions, and he would never trade his beloved women. But Barm offers to bring them along, Saria as an academy student, Artoria as a teacher, Luluni as a student teacher of hand-to-hand combat, and Origa as Iraj's assistant. Hearing this, he thinks it's a good idea, and since the girls also agree, there's no problem going. After several days, Iraj decides to go out with each of the girls in his group. He is just waiting for Louise to return from the battlefield. After going out with his other girlfriends, he is waiting to go out with Saria, but she decides to take Origa along. After walking around the city a bit, Iraj and Saria are sitting talking. He takes the opportunity to thank her and say how much he loves her, and she begins to cry, thanking him as well. Origa tells them to stop being cheesy and calls Iraj to play ball. Suddenly, something giant appears in the sky. It's a balloon with a kind of screen showing the participants of May's art contest. Now they are at the contest in person, and we see the host welcoming the course participants and starting the event. They also introduce us to Master Berger, a very famous painter in the region who will be the contest judge. Irage notices that he has heard that surname before. It's the same surname as Clyde, who coincidentally is the first to show his art at the contest. Clyde's artwork is called The Art. While some people think it's an apple, others believe it's like a lit match or even the sun. I have no idea what it looks like, but comment below what you think. And then we move to May, who presents a drawing of Irage and represents him as a hero, since he gave her the courage to participate in this contest. People think it's a beautiful work, and a guy even calls Irage handsome. Later we see Irage approaching May, congratulating her on winning first place. May says that Master Burger offered her a spot at the prestigious painting school, and that unfortunately she won't be able to see Irage again. But she promised that when she finishes her studies, Irage will be the first model she chooses to paint in her first painting. He says he will look forward to it. And then we see the Valkyries returning to the city. Louisa approaches Irage, as she knows he is leaving for the Barbador Magic Academy. The two say goodbye. On the other hand, we see Chris, who is being very bothered by two companions. One is named Lester and the other is Andrea. After that, the Demon King appears, saying that Chris needs more chaos, death, and destruction to also complete his resurrection, stating that all this darkness will transform his body and he will finally come back to life. Then Andrea has an idea and tells them to attack the Barbador Magic Academy, since that academy has many nobles and dukes' children. Chris really likes the idea and says they will get a large dose of chaos by attacking that academy. After that, we see Sito recalling that Zoe talked about someone named Irage Seek. She says she's looking for him to thank him for having saved her. Speaking of the boy, he is with his group, saying goodbye to all his colleagues in Telt City. Each gives him different advice. For example, Gazel tells him that his muscles will never betray him. After that, he leaves in the carriage with his girlfriends. He thanks them for coming. Suddenly, we appear out of nowhere in a fight. It's Irage battling a young albino who has a giant scythe. He seems to be having fun with Irage, who doesn't seem to be a rival for him. And after dodging an attack from Irage, he hits him with his scythe, then moves in to kill him. But luckily Saria appears, transforming into a gorilla and saving our protagonist's life, striking the young albino. She unleashes a barrage of blows, but the young albino doesn't even dodge, showing that they are so weak they can't even scratch him. And then with just one punch, he pierces Saria's abdomen and she falls directly to the ground. Irage screams Saria's name and goes to her, only to realize that all this time he was dreaming. He wakes up inside the carriage with his friends, who continue the journey to the Magic Academy. It seems everyone there has evolved, as they are a little more handsome. Anyway, after a long journey, they manage to reach the Barbador Magic Academy. Everyone is impressed with how big it is, while Barm invites them to follow. When they enter the academy, it itself seems like a complete city, where many students gather to learn magic, this being the best academy in the world. On the way, they notice that there are several shops, and they get distracted when Lulu asks to buy something. She already wants to eat, but Barm shouts for them. They were only at the entrance, and now he will truly take them to the real academy. Meanwhile, at the same academy, Irage's companions notice how they are excluded even by the students who were summoned as heroes. At that moment, Kanazuki feels the presence of someone familiar, probably because of the smell, deducing that it is Irage. He is in Barm's office with his group of girls. Barm prepares to explain several things to Irage, reminding him that this academy gathers children of royal families and nobles from many countries. Among them are those who came from another world. Irage hears this and remembers his classmates who bullied him. And Barmy says that these students from another world arrived as hero candidates of the Kaiser Empire due to their high potential. As for the other students who are not heroes, they keep bullying the hero candidates. Those are the idiots who are messing with Kanazuki. Faced with this, the school does not know how to intervene. If they punish the hero candidates, they don't know how the Kaiser Empire will react. And that's why he brought Irage to be the savior and protect the order of the academy, wanting him to educate them properly so that they are at the level of the hero candidates. After that, he mentions the job positions that the girls will have, starting with Saria and Luluni, who will enter as regular students. As for Artoria, she will be the teacher of the adventure department and will teach everything she knows about the subject, while Origa will be Irage's assistant. After explaining everything, Barm asked him to do his best. Meanwhile, the girls decide where to go first. Irage begins to think that now he will be a teacher, reflecting on the changes life brings, remembering how he used to be the one everyone mocked, but suddenly he was sent to this world and now he walks around with a bunch of hotties and could mock others. But he won't do that because he's a good person. He met Saria as a gorilla and asked her to marry him. He met many beautiful girls who are by his side. He fought against dark knights and dragons and was forced to join a very dubious guild, but he certainly doesn't regret it. But it all started when he ate the evolution fruit and he still remembers the taste very well. Irage snaps out of his imagination, interrupted by Barm, who thinks about taking him to Class F, the class Irage will be responsible for. This is a group of problem children. As he is telling a little about the students, he stops at the door and is hit. A beautiful woman enters. Her name is Beatrice. Beatrice, and she is very angry with the director Barmy because he left without notifying the teachers, leaving her with a mountain of papers she needed to review. Barmy gets distracted by her breasts, which makes her even angrier, and she throws the papers while telling the others to follow her. Outside, Beatrice introduces herself as the former tutor of Class F, because now Baum has sent her to support Irich, and from now on she will be the assistant teacher. After walking a bit more, she tells Artoria to enter Class A as an adventurer teacher, and also asks Lulu to enter this class. She refuses to move away from Irich, saying she needs to be by his side, so Beatrice tells her that the cafeteria is very close to Class A, and that ends up convincing her to go to the classroom. Artoria also says goodbye, going after her. Before continuing, Irich asks Beatrice if he really should take over Class F. She replies yes, because she couldn't make these children's talents flourish. Although they are labeled as the worst, she knows they are good young people, and if the director trusted him, she is sure he can turn them into excellent students. He says he doesn't know if he can meet expectations, but will do his best. After that, they arrive at Class F, where Irich ends up being surprised by a prank. An iron bucket falls right on his head. Even so, he goes ahead to introduce himself, but is surprised to see that there are only 4 students. A guy with a bat in his hand, a blonde girl, an albino who likes to read, and a guy with a bear helmet. After that, in a dark forest inside some kind of sphere, Ruben's voice says that his new objective will be to revive the Dark God. However, for that, they will need the despair of humans' negative emotions. He immediately asks Chris how his plans are going. Chris replies that he will invade the Magic Academy, an easy and very efficient method. Additionally, Chris thinks that if he helps contribute to the resurrection, he can gain a lot of status and power. But to his surprise, he is confronted by Demioros and Andrea, who will delay his plan, as they prefer to go to the academy before he does anything stupid, guaranteeing that if they go without this idiot's help, everything will end in the blink of an eye. They can't wait to generate complete chaos. Meanwhile, Iraj is intimidated by some students. While they ask who he is and if he wants to fight, at that moment, Professor Beatrice arrives. She stares fixedly at the student called Agnos by name. Upon hearing her, he gets nervous and tries to explain what's happening. So Beatrice hits him on the head with her book. Agnos asks her to stop hitting him like that. Then Beatrice explains that Iraj is a new tutor. Agnos, upon hearing this, can't believe it and tries to intimidate Iraj again. So Beatrice hits him again, making him spin several times and fall sitting in his seat. Shortly after, Beatrice introduces Iraj as the tutor of Class F and Origa as his assistant. She also explains that Iraj will be the substitute starting today, so he introduces himself, saying he hopes to get along with everyone. Origa also introduces herself. Beatrice also says that Saria will join the class, which excites Agnes because she is very beautiful, and he invites her for a cup of coffee. Beatrice asks all the students to introduce themselves. The first student to introduce himself is Agnos. People call him the Furious Forelock of Hell. Saria finds his introduction incredible and takes the opportunity to reveal her gorilla form, scaring everyone. The second student is Brood Kaiser, who is the prince of the Kaiser Empire. Agnos tries to provoke him, who accepts without any problem, but before they start fighting, Beatrice stops them. The third to introduce herself is Helen Rosa, her nickname the Twin and Scarlet Sword. And finally, the Bearhead introduces himself, saying his name is Bright Lutra, but he doesn't speak and communicates through cards. Later we see Kanazuki trying to follow Iraj's smell to find him again, and upon detecting it, she runs in the direction where Iraj is, but she accidentally bumps into Sito, who asks how the student council president is in such a hurry. Kanazuki replies that it's nothing, she just smelled a very familiar scent and is heading toward it. She asks if by chance it's Iraj, and Kanazuki says she has no doubt it's his smell. So Seto decides to join the search for Iraj, and both run off immediately. Shortly after, we see Iraj with Professor Beatrice, who is handing out some kind of test to the students. The highest grade was Helen's. She aced it but didn't even care. Even so, Saria congratulates her in gorilla form. Therefore, Iraj, along with his assistant, takes her out of the classroom to explain that she cannot transform in front of others, as they are not used to it. Upon returning to the classroom, Beatrice asks Iraj if he would like to do a special class to learn about each student's abilities. He accepts, as he will be able to better understand the student's skills, who, upon hearing this, start acting threatening. Later, we see Iraj's group of students walking through the school corridors. Then Agnos asks who Iraj is. His colleagues think he is a complete mystery. Helen asks Saria if she gets along with Iraj and if she really knows him. She replies that she is his wife, impressing everyone. They start asking about the other girls. Osaria tells that Origa is her little sister, Artoria is her girlfriend, and Lulu is her servant. Then they are even more impressed. The forelock runs off, feeling like a failure. Helen asks Saria if Iraj is strong. She replies that he is very strong, so Helen simply turns her back and leaves. After that, we see Iraj with Beatrice and Origa in the director's office. Mom asks Iraj what he thought of the Class F students, and he replies that they are peculiar students, but but are calm. Even so, he wouldn't call them problem children. At that, Bomb says the Class F students are a bit different from the other classes. Iraj asks what he means by that, so Bami asks if he has heard of the other students. Iraj says he hasn't heard anything since he hasn't been at the school long, and Beatrice reveals that this class is called the Failure Troop. But what everyone doesn't know is that they carry a big problem. Later, we see Iraj's group of students preparing to show what they are capable of. Then another group of students arrives to provoke them. And apparently, the leader of this group is Brud's older brother. He says he will show the difference between Class S and the Failure class. The Forelock tries to go after him, but the bear stops him. Additionally, the blonde says that everyone should kneel before him for being the future emperor of the Kaiser Empire. His name is T-Blot. He notices Saria, approaches her, and asks her name. She introduces herself. T-Blot says he is happy because from today she will be his woman, but Saria rejects him, saying she loves Iraj and he is much stronger and more handsome than him. T-Blot, upon hearing this, feels totally humiliated, which causes a lot of laughter from Iraj's students. He decides to give Saria another chance, since he will be the next ruler of the Kaiser Empire. But again, Saria rejects him, and T-Blot, upon hearing this, decides to withdraw for today. Then Agnes calls him a coward, but he says not to provoke him, and if they want to fight him, he will wait for the interclass battles. At that, Iraj arrives while Blot withdraws. Saria calls his name, which catches T-Blot's attention, who leaves smiling, having identified his rival. Beatrice arrives with Iraj. She asks if something happened, and the group of students says no, and then they decide to start the special class. Iraj tells his students that he will not use magic against them. Agnos offers to be the first to fight Iraj, but Helen says she will be first. Agnos doesn't want to give up his spot, but Helen just stares at him intimidatingly. Therefore, Agnos decides to back down. So we see Iraj and Helen preparing. The two begin the fight. Helen decides to attack Iraj with all her might. Even using her daggers, Iraj manages to dodge them and block easily, wondering why she is attacking with such anger. Meanwhile, Andrea and Demioros are arriving at the Magic Academy. They take the opportunity to make a bet, and want to see which of them kills more students for the Dark King. Demioros says Andrea has more advantage thanks to her assassin princess skill, but it's been a long time since he last saw her skill in practice. But Andrea says he has more advantage thanks to his direct to hell skill. Even knowing that Barmy will be in that place, they don't care and underestimate his power greatly, and still say they will make a greater effort for the Demon King, regardless of their opponents. Meanwhile, the battle with Iraj continues, but he is only dodging. Helen attacks non-stop until she uses her special skill with her daggers, a skill that Iraj dodges easily. In the blink of an eye, he sends Helen into the sky. After catching her in his arms, she starts moving a lot, wanting to get out, and accidentally he grabs her breast, making her strike him, leaving him on the ground. Now it will be Agnos's turn to fight, but Prince Brad proposes fighting 3 against 1. Agnos is a bit rebellious and doesn't accept, but Brad convinces him, and they plan together with the bear how they will defeat Iraj. Iraj observes them, remembering how they have very distinct personalities and greatly doubts that they can do any teamwork. They prepare, surrounding Iraj. Agnos charges, announcing the fight, striking Iraj with his bat, but Iraj dodges and ends up neglecting his back. The bear takes the opportunity to strike him, but Iraj stops him and now starts dodging the attacks of both. This distraction makes Iraj occupy his hands, using them to defend against the attacks, giving Brood the opportunity to deliver a blow with his sword. But Iraj bites his sword and then pushes the 3 away, jumping up and with the momentum falling down with a strong palm strike that managed to shake the entire academy like an earthquake. The 3 students fall defeated, while Iraj is congratulated by Saria and also by Origa. Agnos is frustrated and starts crying, saying they are such failures because they can't use magic, and that's why everyone considers them losers. His other companions are also very sad, and Iraj, facing the situation, uses his world vision skill and notices something strange. Observing his students, he realizes they have a chain over them. It is basically an anomaly that rejects the manifestation of magic, and for other unknown reasons they cannot invoke magic. That was what Beatrice was referring to when she mentioned to Iraj that they carried a big problem. Despite much effort, they never managed to use magic. They earn the contempt of all students. Iraj understands how they feel when they lose faith, because they are in a magic school and cannot learn anything as they cannot use it. He understands that they have suffered a lot, reflecting that this is how he felt in his previous life. He was mistreated, but upon arriving in this world, everything changed. As he was saved by magic, now he must also save them. Agnos shouts that it's not that easy. Even so, he will prove otherwise. Iraj begins to meditate to create a new spell, repeatedly searching for the word liberation. But in doing so, he remembers that he had already said that before and merely returns to a familiar image, reactivating the skill called President Lincoln. But that is not useful now, so he thinks of creating another. He creates a skill with a very long name, basically describing the situation they are in. But in the end, it works, as he manages to remove the chains from all his students, who feel how magic begins to flow through their bodies. Helen is the first to discover that she has fire magic. The bear has immeasurable strength using earth magic, and Brood also uses water magic, attacking himself off with his own spell, the same way Irage did in his battle with Saria. Finally, Agnos also manages to use fire magic, accidentally setting his own hair on fire, but Brood puts it out for him, and then everyone starts laughing, thanking Irage for having freed them, since clearly none of them will be a joke at school anymore, promising to give their best to use their magic to the fullest. Meanwhile, Kanazuki manages to find the source of the smell, discovering that it is Artoria and not Irage, leaving Kanazuki wondering why she has a smell so similar to Irage's. This makes Artoria scared and she runs away from her. On the other hand, Lulu is in one place at the academy eating peacefully, when she is also interrupted by Kanazuki, who after sniffing her manages to detect Irage's smell coming from her back, but ends up finding it strange when she realizes it also comes from her waist and buttocks. Meanwhile, our boy is at the cafeteria with Saria, Origa, and Beatrice, choosing which dish to eat. Suddenly, Artoria and Luluni also appear, already eating. Kanazuki is still on the search. Suddenly, she sees a man who looks like Irage. She asks if it's him. He turns and recognizes his friend. The girls recognize her as the strange one who was clearly sniffing them. But suddenly, Kanazuki runs to hug him in front of his other girlfriends, leaving them in disbelief, while Artoria gets very jealous. Meanwhile, Demioros and Andrea are getting closer and closer to the academy, managing to reach its entrance and realizing it was protected by a barrier. Andrea tries to remove it, but it is very resistant. This attracts the attention of the guards, who go to stop her. However, as a kind of spell, Andrea controls them by placing a mask on them. She asks them to open the doors so the two can pass, and so they do, managing to enter the Magic Academy. Back to Irage, we see Kanazuki hugging him. While all the students in the cafeteria watch them, Kanazuki says that Irage looks different, but even so, he is still himself. At that, they are interrupted by Artoria, who asks Irage for explanations. He tries to explain, but ends up getting hit. Beatrice tries to calm everyone down. She argues with Artoria, while clearly Kanazuki and Irage talk. She tells Irage that she is very happy to have found him again, then approaches Irage to give him a kiss. But actually, what she does is get close to him, sniff him, and say that his sweat smells like women. This impresses Irage with her great sense of smell. Then Kanazuki points to Irage's group of girls, asking why they have his smell. So they enter a kind of battle to see who is more important to him. Artoria says this will be very interesting. Starting the battle, Kanazuki begins by saying she is Irage's childhood friend. Then Artoria says she is his girlfriend. Luni is his servant, and Origa, his little sister, throwing several fireballs. But that's not enough to defeat Kanazuki. Then Saria appears, charging her power and launching it, saying she is Irage's wife. Kanazuki can't handle it and falls defeated. After that, Irage carries her in his arms and says he can take her to the infirmary if she wants. She says she is very happy to know he is okay. After that, we see Irage with his group of girls sitting at a table with Kanazuki. Beatrice tells Irage that she needs to leave. Then Saria asks Kanazuki if by chance she likes Irage or something, which embarrasses Kanazuki. But she says he is just her childhood friend and the secrets of the heart must be kept. At that, we see the girls say they like Irage. Saria likes his smile. Artoria likes how brave he is. And Luluni likes when his butt gets stuck on her back. Origa likes when Irage pets her head. Irage gets embarrassed and asks them to please stop, but is interrupted by Kanazuki, who begins to tell how Irage had saved her a long time ago. Suddenly, we have a small flashback, showing the reason why Kanazuki admires him so much. She says he protected her and was always smiling, even though he had lost his parents. And one day, a group of boys was bullying Kanazuki. Irage came and defended her, but by doing so, the bullying was transferred to him. Back to the present, we see Irage explaining to his women that Kanazuki, he and his companions come from another world. Irage also says that he is not as important as they believe, revealing his true appearance, impressing all of them. After that, we see Irage with them. He apologizes for making them believe he was someone else. Alright, then we see the reaction of Saria and the other girls, which makes Irage understand that it doesn't matter how he looks or where he comes from. He accepted them even though they were from different races and had many flaws. This makes Irage cry, thanking them for accepting him exactly as he is, returning to his normal appearance. Then he tells the girls that he is who he is because of them, including Kanazuki and his friends. Kanazuki explains to Irage that the best thing is for him not to get involved with her, since they arrived at the academy as hero candidates of the Kaiser Empire. They have had many conflicts and problems with the students. Irage says that Barm had already told him that. Then Kazuki says she doesn't want to take Irage back to a world of violence, as they could be attacked at any moment. After that, Kanazuki says goodbye to Irage, saying that now it's her turn to protect him. As she turns around, Origa notices a bracelet on her wrist, leaving her very scared and automatically frantically hugging Irage. He, seeing that she was scared, asks what happened. Origa tells him to look at the bracelet Kazuki is wearing. Irage sees it and asks who gave it to her, and she says it was given to her in the Kaiser Empire to supposedly improve her abilities. Then Irage finally realizes that it is a slavery bracelet. At that, Irage begins to feel very angry, saying he will take revenge on all of them, referring to the Kaiser Empire. After that, he is visited by an entity that tries to take advantage of his anger to control him, making him lose control and release a wave of dark power that is felt in all the kingdoms of this world, breaking all the slavery bracelets that his companions were wearing, making them also pass out. At that, we see the boy that Irage fought in his dreams, saying that he finally found him. Barum also realizes that he is already here, although they don't know exactly who it is. The entity also tries to devour Irage, but before that, Saria saves him, preventing the entity from devouring him. Upon regaining consciousness, Irage sees his women worried about him, but he has no idea why they are like that. Then he sees Kazuki fallen on the ground and approaches, asking if she is okay. She just replies that she felt like she was going to faint. Later, we see Irage explaining to Kanazuki about the bracelet. She asks why they would give her something like that. At that, Barum arrives, saying it was to defeat the Demon King. The Windberg Kingdom wanted to make an alliance with the demons, but the Kaiser Empire does not want that to happen, because the Kaiser Empire wants to dominate everyone alone without any allies. So their goal is to eliminate both the Demon Kingdom and the Windberg Kingdom, or something even darker, to defeat both at the same time. That's why they want to use the summoned heroes. Barmy thanks Irage for breaking the slavery bracelet and stares at him intently. Therefore, Irage asks if something happened, but Barm says nothing, just leaves, asking Irage not to tell anyone what happened. Kanazuki is worried about having been summoned to a very dangerous country, but Irage says he will protect them all no matter what. Luluni is already starving and asks to go eat soon. After that, Irage tries to leave with his group of women, but is stopped by Kanazuki, who asks to join his group as his older sister. Irage accepts her, but doesn't like the older sister role. Even so, she joins the group. Next, we see Andrea and Demioros. The two are sitting calmly, having coffee. They ask themselves why they felt that wave, not really knowing what it was. Then we see Ruben appear at their cafe, informing them that the slavery bracelets have been destroyed, asking them to put the next plan into action. They inform him that they are already doing that, but actually they are just having coffee. Ruben also asks if they felt the wave. They reply yes, but they don't know what it was, although it increased the power of the Demon Lord, who is about to return to life. After that, we see a red sky and see the eye of some creature. The next day, Irage's class is excited to learn more and more about magic, seeking to get stronger every day to silence all those who mock them. Brood asks Irage to train after class, and his companions also ask, and noticing the motivation they have, he decides to accept it. They go to the academy's battlefield, where they prepare to fight. The bear traps Irage, covering him with rocks, while Helen, Brood, and Agnos also launch their spells. Irage tries to use his magic, but something very strange happens, and he cannot use it, being forced to protect himself from the spells. He knows something strange is happening to him, but decides not to worry the others, telling his students that the battle was very good, and they are improving. At that moment, T-Blot appears, insulting both Irage and his students, calling them failures. He mentions that he also came to train to make everyone kneel before him when they lose. This speech makes Helen furious, who draws her daggers to attack him, but T-Blot laughs in her face. Noticing her daggers, he realizes that she comes from a small country that will soon be dominated by the empire called Waltz. Helen becomes even more furious, but the bear assures her. Brood approaches his brother, asking him to stop bothering them. T-Blot realizes that Irage is present, so he decides to challenge him to see how strong he is. But Brood says that his fight is against them, and that they will face each other in the next competition between classes. This motivates them to continue training, and they ask Irage to help them improve even more. Thus, Irage applies various training methods to improve their skills. Time passes until the eve of the competition, where we see the boys taking a hot spring bath, while imagining what the bear hides under his mask. In the bath, he is naked, but still hides his face. Suddenly, Irage appears, and the boys envy him, saying his entire body is S-rank. On the other hand, the girls just do girl things, and Saria does gorilla things. The next day, Demioros and Andrea are buying clothes. Suddenly, the albino boy who appeared in Irage's dreams appears between them. He threatens the two, saying he will make them disappear for not wanting to fulfill their tasks. Demioros, all scared, says he will put them into practice. The albino boy calms down and decides to trust them, leaving the place. After that, we return to the academy, where Bam starts the interclass competition. The first match is Class S, where T-Blot's idiot is, and Class F, which is Irage's class. It will be an elimination match, and the losing class will be defeated with all its monsters. That way, T-Blot will no longer bother them. Barm says that no matter who wins the battle, Class F should no longer be bothered. Before the first match starts, representing Class S, T-Blot comes out, and from Class F, Brood comes out. Both present themselves to fight, but they are interrupted when Barm is captured, and several golden circles tighten around him. He's a bit perverted and likes it. Those responsible for the attack are Demioros and Andrea, who introduce themselves as apostles of the Demon Lord's order. The sky turns red while a great eye observes, and Andrea informs all the students that they must die, as they will be sacrificed for the Demon Lord. Demioros casts a spell that traps all the students. They try to escape but cannot, because when they cast their spells, they are reflected back at themselves with more power, dying in the process and causing panic among all the other students. Beatrice tries to calm them down, but it's useless. Realizing that Demioros' spell is advanced light magic, T-Blood tries to defend himself by attacking Andrea with a weak lightning spell, which she dodges, appearing behind his friends and controlling them with a spell called Assassin Princess to attack him. But T-Blood is saved by his brother, but he rejects his help. Andrea notices this and decides to eliminate both so that their country has no heir to the throne. But Brood's companions intervene, knocking out T-Blood's enchanted friends. Brood asks Helen and his brother to unite to fight this time, as the enemy is very strong. They accept and decide it will be only this once. Therefore, everyone except T-Blood attacks at the same time, but are thrown far away by Andrea. But to her surprise, T-Blood tries to catch her off guard with a sword strike, but she blocks and returns the attack. T-Blood surprises her once more and steals her weapon, leaving her completely on the defensive for the others. With their combined attacks, they manage to hit her, causing good damage and destroying half of her mask, which makes Andrea even more furious, releasing all her power because now that they have seen half of her burned face, she will kill everyone, launching a powerful dark spell that throws Agnos far away, and then each of them, leaving everyone severely injured. Andrea approaches Helen, complimenting her beautiful face. Therefore, she will take Helen's face for herself, wanting to ruin it. When she is about to do so, Beatrice appears to stop her, and so they ask themselves, where has Iraj been all this time? The truth is that he was in the bathroom with diarrhea because of some food Luluni gave him, and this diarrhea didn't go away even when he used his spells to get better. Back to Beatrice, we see her preparing to fight Andrea, who mocks Beatrice, calling her old. Hearing this, Beatrice gets a bit irritated and launches some wind blasts, while saying she will protect all her students. At that, Andrea takes the opportunity to use a spell to control Agnos, making him attack his own teacher. While Iraj remains stuck in the bathroom, his students, seeing the pressure they face, wish Iraj were there with them. Meanwhile, Beatrice continues dodging Agnos' attacks. Andrea orders Agnos to destroy and finish Beatrice. At that moment, we see Agnos approach his teacher and say that he learned to use magic thanks to Iraj, not her, which deeply shakes Beatrice. The other students try to stop him, but it's impossible. He continues hitting his teacher until he lets his guard down, and Beatrice hits him on the head with her book, making Agnos begin to regain control of his body. Andrea, seeing this, becomes even more furious and attacks Beatrice. She easily defends against the attack, making her book generate around her. Thus, she hits Andrea squarely. Then Agnos wakes up and starts apologizing to his teacher for the things he said. Beatrice hits him lightly, telling him not to fall asleep in class anymore. Agnos and all his students thank Beatrice for the things she taught them, and then Demioros arrives, informing them that he is still standing, and if they want to celebrate, they will have to defeat him first. Beatrice and her students ignore him and try to go eat, which leaves Demioros very irritated. He then grabs Director Bam and starts torturing him, saying he hates it when people don't pay attention to him. Beatrice attacks him, making him release the director. At that, we see Andrea trying to get up. She asks for some power from Demioros, but he refuses, saying she doesn't deserve it. Hearing that, Andrea asks if he intends to abandon her. This makes Demioros laugh, saying she was never one of the Demon Lord's apostles, since being one of his apostles means carrying a part of the Demon Lord's power. At that, Demioros shows a mark that all apostles have, indicating that they carry a part of the Demon Lord's power. He tells Andrea that the only thing of value she had was her intellect and magical power, but now she has lost everything she had and become a useless being. Andrea, upon hearing this, falls into despair and is absorbed by the great eye in the sky. After that, he tells Beatrice that she can continue her special class. Beatrice accepts and the fight begins. She starts attacking Demioros with wind cuts that he dodges easily. Then he goes after her, striking her and throwing her far away. The students see their teacher in danger. They try to help her, but she shouts for them to stay back. The students obey while they see their teacher take off her coat and glasses, increasing her aura and charging a spell that she launches at Demioros, causing some scratches on him. Demioros smiles and advances against the teacher, striking her repeatedly and throwing her far away. Seeing this, his students try to intervene, attacking with their spells, but Demioros dodges again and at the same time attacks them. Faced with this, Beatrice tries to protect them, since Demioros wants to kill them, and she is clearly desperate. So Demioros asks her a question. He wants to know how important these kids' lives are to her. and why she protects them so much. Beatrice replies that it is her duty as a tutor and teacher to protect and educate them no matter what, even if it unfortunately leads to her death. At that, Demioros charges an attack in one of his arms and clearly prepares to attack Beatrice. But he is stopped by Iraj, who arrives just in time to save her. His students are very happy to see him, and Demioros asks him to let go, then follows up. But Iraj dodges the attack with his instant movement and asks Saria and Origa to take care of his students and Professor Beatrice. Then he faces Demioros, who feels fear from Iraj's gaze and shows again the mark on his chest, thus activating a spell that attacks Iraj with several laser beams, leaving him even more irritated to the point where his eyes turn red and his pupils yellow, as if he was some kind of demon as he approaches dodging Demioros' attacks, who receives a blow right on the chin delivered by Iraj, being thrown towards the great eye in the sky and thus defeated. Everyone, seeing Iraj defeat Demioros, celebrates and applauds. Iraj's group approaches to congratulate him, saying he is very strong and that if he had been there from the start, none of this would have happened. But since he was literally shitting, many people died from this shit. Everyone is left with the desire to become as strong as Iraj. After that, we see the albino boy again. This time, he's gathered with 3 other people who found out that Demioros and Andrea were defeated, so they need to start the next phase of the plan. At that, the redhead says he will attack first and disappears. While Iraj and the others celebrate, they don't realize that Demioros appears for a brief moment to take revenge. He launches a lightning spell that goes straight at Iraj as he disappears from the world. Seido tries to save Iraj, but ends up receiving the attack along with him, and the two fall to the ground. Iraj and Seido die instantly. The place fills with sadness, and everyone cries over their departure. Or at least that's what they thought, because Iraj is still alive in the underworld, along with Seido. A strange voice tells him that the anime would have ended if Iraj had died. So he will have to participate in a kind of contest until he reaches the gate of life and crosses it to return to his old friends. First, Iraj must answer some questions about himself, and if he answers wrong, he will be eliminated instantly. Seto is kidnapped by a very strange woman, but Iraj doesn't notice while trying to answer. The first question is, what was the reason Seto fell in love with him at first sight? This question catches Iraj by surprise, and to answer, he needs to get on a jet ski. After that, he sees Seto tied up trying to signal him to get the answer right. Iraj doesn't understand anything, but still makes a decision, choosing no as his answer. He gets it right and saves himself from death. Seto is freed, and after that, a video is shown with the correct answer, where we see Seto in high school alone. Iraj appears and sits next to her, starting a conversation since Seto wasn't very good at socializing due to shyness. But Iraj, little by little, with his kindness, helped her feel a bit better, and thanks to that kindness, Seto fell in love with Iraj. It was not love at first sight. Iraj, who had pretended to know her all this time, finally remembered who she was. The mysterious voice congratulates him for passing the first test. Then it announces that the final test will begin. After that, we see Lucia gathered with the demon army captains, informing them about the peace treaty with the Windberg kingdom, mentioning that only one step is left to forge an alliance. She asks for their support, and if anyone has something to say, they should say it now. The only thing that bothers one of the captains is that there are very strange people in this kingdom, including a guy who is super muscular and walks around naked. Yes, he's talking about Gazel, as well as a girl who seems quite psychotic, who walks around with a whip and tortures people, and a bunch of perverts. Meanwhile, we return to Iraj. He is in his next challenge, which is to cross a giant labyrinth, something that in itself seems very easy. But the problem is that they will have to avoid some vandals, and they are very strange and tell Iraj to watch his back. This part is quite peculiar. So in summary, Iraj wins the test and manages to cross the gate of life, but ends up taking some very dubious blows along the way. After that, a dark castle inhabited by the albino boy is shown. He talks with his butler named Jutis, who informs him about Gempel and Vita, who have already started acting on the plans to resurrect the demon lord. After that, Iraj wakes up as if nothing had happened, cheering everyone present. But at that moment, Louisa appears very injured, falling unconscious before everyone. Soon we see why Louisa appeared at the Magic Academy. King Hans asked her to take Iraj back to Telt so he could witness the alliance between humans and demons. After that, we return to the kingdom of Telt, where Iraj's guild is holding a kind of contest for new members. Several participants catch attention, but one stands out greatly, a member of the Black Apostles who excels in every aspect and is accepted into the guild as a new member. Finally, the demons arrive at the kingdom and cross the gates. After that, we see Chris talking to Ruben, saying that everything is going according to plan. After that, we see Commander Zakia walking through the castle corridors, thinking about the decisions the emperor of that country has made, and whether the old king would really want what is happening at the moment. At that moment, he hears a very familiar voice. It's Ruben talking to Chris about his plan. Zakia decides to confront him. He asks if what is being said is true, and Ruben asks if he is still following the nonsense of the old empire. Alf, saying that this country is full of people who are begging for salvation and obviously are already falling into despair, which will serve to increase the Demon King's power. Hearing this, Zakia says he will not allow them to continue using these people. He draws his sword and attacks him, managing to cut him in half, but what he cuts is only an illusion. Ruben laughs in his face and escapes, saying no one will stop his plans. After that, we see Zakia mounting a horse and remembering what Emperor Alf told him a long time ago, that a nation was destroyed by an attack of unknown monsters. He tried to save the nation, did everything he could, but couldn't. Therefore, he asks Zakia that if something like that were to happen to his nation again, he should protect it and lead it, even if that meant seeking alliances with other nations. Therefore, Zakia sets off for the kingdom of Telt, but he is attacked by the albino boy. Zakia manages to dodge the attack. The boy asks where he is going in such a hurry, so Zakia prepares to fight, but the boy appears behind him, saying his world will fall into complete chaos. Zakia tries to strike him, but he dodges and appears on a tree. Zakia asks if he belongs to the Demon King's order, and he replies yes. So Zakia tries to attack him without success, as the boy dodges all his attacks very easily, until the boy trips on a stone. Zakia takes the opportunity to hit him with his sword, but the sword causes no damage, and the boy launches a spell at Zakia, who manages to dodge, but realizes the spell completely melted a tree. The boy continues attacking Zakia with the same spell, which hits the knight and wounds him severely, melting part of his armor. After this attack, he asks the boy what he wants, and he replies that he just wants to have a little fun. Meanwhile, he touches Zakia's face with his hand, making him fall to the ground in pain. Even so, Zakia tries to continue fighting and attacks the albino boy again, who ends up destroying Zakia's sword. This sword was given to him by Emperor Alf. Then he summons a gem sword and attacks with a spell called Wave of Conquest, giving it his all and ending up hitting the albino boy, but it causes no damage, who says he's disappointed with the power of the captain of the knights, so he decides to deliver the final blow to Zakia, but he's interrupted by Louise, who arrives to rescue him. Zakia tells Louise to leave because he is very strong, but she refuses and starts attacking the boy, who dodges all her attacks very easily and strikes her with his scythe, throwing her far away. Louise lies injured on the ground and stands up to fight, telling the boy that he is not as strong as her master, who could defeat him in an instant. Hearing this, the boy charges one of his rays to finish off Louise, but she is protected by Zakia, who takes the full attack, destroying all his armor and leaving him severely injured. Louise approaches Zakia trying to help him, but he doesn't respond. Seeing this, the albino boy remembers something from his past. He was wearing his Magic Academy uniform, and it is in flames. The boy is sitting before a large three-headed wolf, but at that moment, he is protected by someone. Remembering this moment, he decides to leave, leaving Louisa and Zakia severely wounded. At that, Zakia regains consciousness and tells Louisa what happened, leaving her in charge of the future of all nations, and dies at that instant. Then we see Louisa telling Iraj everything that happened earlier as they head to the Windberg Kingdom. She is very worried about everything that happened. Iraj holds her hand and says everything will be fine, and the alliance will certainly happen. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Telt, we see King Hans together with the guild members gathered with the Demon Queen and her captains. They are discussing something very silly, just because one was called Bearded and the other Bald. Lucia tries to stop them, but one of her subjects falls on top of her. King Hans also tries to do the same, but the same thing happens. Then we see the new member give an emotional speech, which makes everyone reconcile and cry while hugging each other. At that moment, Iraj enters the room with Saria and Louise. King Hans approaches Iraj, saying he arrived late, and asks Louise what happened to her. She tells everything that happened. King Hans tells Lucia that this is no longer a matter concerning the two kingdoms, and they need to do something more about it. Lucia agrees, saying they must stop the Kaiser Empire, and thus they seal their alliance. Meanwhile, at the academy, everyone returns to their activities. Soon we see that Seto's identity has been stolen. It's Gempel himself who tells his story of how he came to hate humanity, as his parents never gave him anything from a young age. Gempel has the ability to transform into other people, and by transforming into Saria, he defeats the entire Class F. He even uses the gorilla's powers, leaving everyone confused and defeated. Then he goes after Luluni, tries to kill her with a knife, but she discovers him and thinks he was trying to steal her food. Gempel knows his intention was different, but realizes that Luluni is very naive. With an act of kindness, she shares food with him, making him feel what true friendship is. He remembers that he never had friends, so he runs away to avoid hurting her. She tries to do the same with Origa, but also ends up getting attached. She offered an umbrella to Gempel, while he remembers that he used to get beaten in the rain. So he changes his objective again, going after Artoria, transforming into a rage. Speaking of him, he is with Saria buying things in the city. Saria meets the albino boy, who upon seeing her remembers someone from the past. At that moment, Iraj arrives and talks to the boy, thinking he had seen him somewhere before. The boy just confirms that Iraj is the type of person he's looking for. After confirming this, he says goodbye, saying they will see each other again soon. Back to Gempel, he approaches Artoria. She is surprised to see him at the academy. Gempel makes up an excuse that he wanted to spend time with her, obviously pretending to be Iraj. Artoria Toria pushes him away with juice because she realizes he is acting very strangely. She starts being very sweet to him, thanking him for everything he did. Even after punching him in the face, she says sweet things. Genple also realizes that Artoria is a very good person, which makes him remember his past. Seeing how everyone adores Seiichi, he decides to spend some time transformed into him to find out why they all do that, or at least to find out why they admire him so much. However, without realizing it, he begins to enjoy the school life that Seiichi leads. After a picnic, Barum gathers with them to talk about something related to the Demon King, but at that moment, a giant ogre appears to attack them. But Genpo takes care of it with just a look, making it retreat. Barmy realizes that this is the fake Seiichi, and then decides to tell everyone that they felt a malicious presence at the academy and that it is an assassin sent by the Dark Order. At that moment, Kanazuki also appears to tell everyone that this is clearly not the real Seiichi, because thanks to her sense of smell, she knows it's not him. Also, a few days ago, she saw a fake Seto talking to Luluni, while the real one was unconscious in the hen house. After being discovered, Genpo introduces himself as one of the 4 directors of the Demon King's orders. He says that his plan after taking Sato's identity was to kill everyone and end everything so that the academy would become chaos. However, being transformed into Seiichi, he understood how valuable loved ones are, which prevented him from killing them all. For this reason, he decides to leave, because he also wants to be loved like Seiichi, although he still doubts that this day will come. Artoria asks if they should really let him go. Barmy replies that with the power he had, he could have killed everyone, but he chose not to, and to leave, so he decides to trust him. Later, we see Genpo watching the academy from afar, and in front of him appears a hooded man. Genpo is happy to see him and comments that he's going to abandon the Order of Chaos. When he begins to explain his reasons, the hooded man kills him without saying anything. Then we see Seiichi returning to the academy with Saria. Meanwhile, on the way, he can't stop thinking about this albino boy he had seen somewhere before. Next, we return to the members of Seiichi's guild, where Vitor is wanting to put his plan into action. He can't hold back any longer. After a night of drinking, everyone is asleep because of the alcohol, except for the pacifier man, who is suddenly attacked. The next day, Gazelle notices this, and together with Vitor and Eris, they begin an investigation to find out who it was. They interrogate all the guild members without getting any answers, and Vitor suggests that it might have been someone from the Demon King's order, which arouses Eris' suspicion. After a while, we see the guild members gathered before the pacifier man's grave. Eris shouts that he is clearly not dead, and at that, Gazelle feels very guilty. The pacifier man wakes up and explains what happened. He was so drunk that he filled one of his bottles with urine. While doing that, he stepped on another and ended up falling to the ground and passing out. Meanwhile, Seiichi explains in his class about the alliance between the Windberg Kingdom and the demons. Then we return to Telt City, where we see Eris walking alone through the city until Vitor appears behind her, confessing that he can't take it anymore, and introduces himself as one of the apostles of the Demon King's order. Eris says she was already suspicious, and Vitor attacks her without hesitation. She dodges the attacks, but in an instant, Vitor catches up to her, hitting her stomach and making her fall to the ground. When Vitor is about to deliver the final blow, Gazelle appears to stop him. He asks why he is hurting Eris. Vitor replies that he does it for fun. Gazelle, upon hearing this, strikes him, sending him flying. Then he looks at Eris and asks if she's okay. She replies yes, but was completely humiliated. Gazelle says he will take care of the rest, going to Vitor to face him. When he arrives, the fight between the two begins, literally hand to hand. The fight is well balanced, but Vitor sends Gazelle to the wall, who gets up without any problem. Then Vitor activates his resonance spell, becoming extremely muscular to continue fighting Gazelle. At that moment, Vitor explains his resonance spell. Each blow he receives is returned double, but Gazelle doesn't care. He just wants to brawl. After a while of exchanging blows, Gazelle falls to the ground, but he gets up again, gives an emotional speech to Vitor, which leaves him very affected, making his muscles start to fail. So Gazelle throws a very powerful punch. Vitor dodges, but it destroys several rocks behind him. Then Gazelle falls onto Vitor's chest, calling him a friend. At that moment, we see Vitor smile and clearly say that it's the first time in his life he feels like he has lost. He lets Gazelle go so he can leave. On the way back, Judd appears doubting his defeat. Vitor admits that he lost, but clearly feels good, as it's the first time in his life he has made a real friend. Hearing that, Judd kills him and then leaves the place. On the other hand, Arach is at the academy's training ground trying to use his magic, but for some reason he can't. In a flashback, we see the albino boy. His name is Destra. He gives a gift to his master named Libera. After that, we hear screams that imply she died sacrificing herself for him, something he wants to forget. Meanwhile, Barm gathers Irage and his friends to explain the real reason he brought Irage to his academy. It was because of the fruit he had eaten, as that fruit is related to the Demon King. Hundreds of years ago, there were several gods, and one of them rebelled to dominate the world alone. This god hated humans and all the other gods. As a result, that hatred transformed until it became an evolution fruit. It spread rapidly throughout the world, and the gods used their forces to stop this spread, making it today a legendary item. And everyone who eats this fruit to the maximum, becomes food for the Demon King. Bomb says he will protect Iraj and ends up mentioning Destra, saying he is the real culprit for everything that happened. Next, we see a flashback where Bomb tries to cheer up Destra, who had lost his parents after a war. He takes him to his magic academy, and with the help of Libera, Destra manages to move forward. However, one day, the academy is attacked by something unknown, causing chaos and destroying the entire place. Libera helps the students flee, and at that moment, Destra is fighting the three-headed wolf. She tries to help him, telling him to run, but the wolf ends up being stronger and kills her. Destra, seeing this, falls into despair, and after the attack ends, he searches for his master's body, but can't find it anywhere. At that moment, the same entity that tried to possess Iraj appears before him, reminding him that he has already suffered greatly and that humans and gods must die. Destra agrees and allows the entity to grant him its power, letting the entity bite him. Destra picks up a power fruit and eats it, obtaining the appearance we already know, and then blames Barmy for everything and leaves the place. Barmy has lamented ever since that he couldn't protect Libera. At that moment, Destra and Jutes appear before them to kidnap Iraj. Bomb tries to prevent them from taking him, trying to convince Destra to come back with them, reminding him of his master Libera, which makes him very furious. Destra grabs Bomb by the neck. Even so, he says he won't let him escape, automatically activating a self-destruction spell. He dies but doesn't cause a scratch on Destra. Iraj becomes very furious and his eyes change. At that moment, Jut uses a spell to teleport Iraj and Saria to another dimension, the same one Iraj had seen in his dream before arriving at the academy. Destra says that this is the place where the Demon King is and that he needs Iraj's energy to resurrect him. And to everyone's surprise, he wants to resurrect him to kill him with his own hands. The fight begins, and Iraj quickly draws his sword to defend himself, noticing that he cannot use his magic and is getting tired very quickly. Destra just mocks him and decides to play a little to see how they fall into despair, showing the same scene seen in Iraj's dream. With him on the brink of death, Saria transforms into a gorilla, trying to save him. Destra doesn't even feel Saria's blows, then finishes her by thrusting his fist through her abdomen. Iraj approaches her and watches her die in his arms. This time, he does not wake up in a dream. What awakens are his true powers, thanks to the evolution fruit. While releasing his energy, Iraj observes his memories, realizing that he will soon disappear. In this space, Destra appears, trying to convince Iraj to let himself be dominated by the dark power of the fruit, showing him when he was mistreated and reminding him of who he really is, making Iraj little by little begin to transform. It is at that same moment that Iraj himself appears to remind him of the power of love and friendship. Iraj remembers his women, rejecting all of Destra's temptations. Thanks to this, he obtains a new evolution called Evolution of Love. With this new form, he begins to sing, resurrecting all the people who had already died. Iraj fights Destra with the power of love, making him understand that hatred is not the way. Destra expected Iraj to be as hopeless as he was, but instead he thanks Iraj for everything he did, changing his opinion and self-eliminating to be with his master. As he disappears, he leaves an evolution fruit. Iraj meets with Saria, and together they return to the academy, where they tell everyone what happened and that Destra did not survive. After that, Iraj decides to continue living his life with his women, while the peace treaty between demons and humans is finally achieved. Vito returns to the guild to be part of it, while Gempel becomes a tutor at the academy. Bami remains director, while Andrea and Demioros walk around together. And finally, Destra manages to reunite in the afterlife with Libera, while Judas is now the one who leads the Dark Order, and thus the anime ends. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.